All right, fuck it. We're doing it live. Hey, folks, how you doing? I don't know if anybody's in chat today, and it's fine. It's fine, because today is a casual Friday Hangout tabletop RPG design stream. I will not be yelling about extreme meat punks forever today, despite my desire to continue to do so. The book's right there. Book's right there. I'm my own boss, and nothing is stopping me from potentially just picking the book up again and continuing to yell about it. Look, now that nobody's on stream to hear me say any of this. Hey, okay, never mind. Somebody's on stream. Hello, Felix. Welcome in, friend. Welcome in. So I've been giving a little bit of thought to how I was reacting yesterday to that last playbook on Extreme Meat Meat Freaks Forever, right? And I don't think I'm wrong, because I'm never wrong. But I think a lot of that discussion could have been reduced to double check in with the people at your table and make sure everyone's on the same page, right? The only thing I can think of is, hey, sort of almost like a content warning kind of situation, like, hey, this is a character type and a character class that is all about these kind of romantic entanglements. Let's all be 100% sure that at the table that we're all okay with that, right? And as I said, I compared it to Die yesterday, and Die, I think, handled that a lot better with having a problematic class that is deemed problematic, and here's why it is in the story, and discuss at the table with your players, etc. Blah blah blah. And again, it might just be a vibe mismatch, right? Like the game is going for a certain vibe, and I may not be feeling that vibe at the time when I was looking at that character class. Because at the end of the day, it's not evil, right? It's just not necessarily something that I would be comfortable on an average game with strangers kind of vibe. But if you've got people who are all in on the setting of the game, that's a different story at that point. I just want to make sure that my final point is not, oh, sex and love and romance is bad in tabletop RPGs, because in no way, shape, or form is that my point of view. On the contrary, I get defensive about game mechanics that could be weaponized against players at the table. That's basically my concern there. And if you're going to have them, which fine, hell, even my game, which I'm going to be working on today, despite my attempts, it is hard to keep mechanics and powers and stuff out of your games that couldn't, in theory, be used to poor effect on an out-of-character basis. From if a person's going to be an asshole, a person's going to be an asshole, right? Regardless of the rules that they are looking at. That said, to give them extra tools to be assholes with if you don't absolutely have to, right? Right. So, folks, wet my whistle a little bit here, because after all that, my tradition is, and hey, exactly, assholes are gonna asshole. Welcome in, friend. After all that, I dish it out. Can I take it? Can I take that same level of like looking at a game's rules and going, this is bullshit, as I inflict upon my fellow indie tabletop RPG folks? Can I, in fact, take it? I'd like to think I can. Let's go ahead and look at my own game, because this is what we do on Fridays. I reserve the right and welcome in Struggle Bus. Hey, I hope you two are having a good Friday, and welcome to the Solitariat. I on my social medias, perfect excuse to no, I just completely exited my streaming button. So no, go back to the streaming. There we go. Okay. I'm a professional. Oh, it's just being very slow. Anyway, here we go. Perfect opportunity for, well, Struggle Bus got ahead of me. I have technology. Oh, but now it works on the YouTube. Not that anyone's on YouTube to see it, but okay, my chat stuff is working on YouTube again. It hasn't been working for weeks. I don't know why. Cool. Cool. Yeah, anyway. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Let's talk shit about my game. So, I mean, look, people who haven't been on one of these Friday streams before, this is my game. It's called Seeker's Call. I wrote it a long time ago, and it's kind of shit. And I've been redoing it. I gave it a whole. I went with a whole new system in 2024. I just kind of ripped out the engine, put in a new game engine roles. Here we go. That's the stop it. Stop. There we go. This is the action mechanic. It looks more complicated than it actually is. If you do the same map for a lot of other games that you think are pretty simple, that are just like, all of this is basically the same thing in a nutshell as roll a die, apply your modifiers of various sorts. Are you cooperating? Yes or no? Then apply those cooperation modifiers, and then look at the results of the dice roll. It's basically it, right? It's got its own flavors. So I'm happy, for certain values of happy, to re-explain the system for anyone who has questions. Who hasn't been on one of these streams, but otherwise I'm just gonna kind of dive into what we're going, because we also have our various character creation, and of course your various character callings. In this game, your character classes are called callings, and so we have, here we go. So this is our status, so you can see how we're at. And I did this to myself not last week. Last week I just wasn't feeling it, and I reserve the right to not feel it at any point in this stream and decide I'm gonna go play video games instead. And you all get to hang out if I decide to play video games anyway. Hey Hemang, welcome in. Thank you as always. We're on the YouTubes for the dropping by on the stream. Thanks so much. As always, we're working on my game because it's Friday. You do you. We're just along for the ride. Struggle Bus. Yes, thank you so much. But today I want to try and do a little bit on my game. And I did this. You see these plot of land purchase. All right. So look, Bulwark. Bulwark is kind of our tank class. I'm calling it draft complete. We've got a description. We've got our strata. We gave them names, our powers, the things they can do, all sorts of details. We got a little table down here. Cool. The conflux is mostly in progress. I'm not going to say it's draft complete. Let's see. I use the same obsidian. It's a good obsidian team, isn't it, right? What am I going to play? Well, I'm not playing anything today necessarily. I'm working on my game. I'm working on Seeker's Call, Hemang. And just kind of like, I usually criticize other people's games. Criticism in a critic kind of sense, I'm talking about games and what I like, what I think, etc. And this is my own game, so I'm giving myself, this is my own system. Exactly, Felix. It is not. I can't claim that it is 100%. In fact, you haven't been here before, so you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take a moment to explain the system in that case, because actually, now that I think about it, hey Phoenix, welcome in, buddy. Welcome in. We're working on my game today. I'm checking. Okay, so I'll show you how the system is. I cannot take full 100% credit for the system. I based it off of a system called. Stop that. There we go. A system called The Pool by James V.W. West. It is a sort of a core system that James provided free for use for people to make their own games. So I've taken the core concept of that system and I'm adapting it into my game and how I want things to go. So I've changed a lot of the terminology. I've tweaked a few things, and I've added kind of like how certain things work and happen. But the basics of the system, it's called the pool for a reason. You have a pool of D6s. I feel like I should probably do something. Give me a second. Bear with me, folks. I'm gonna grab a bag of dice. Well, I don't have to get bags of dice in this room. I should have my bags of dice in this room, but they're in the other room. So, folks, bear with me because I feel like I could do. Got an overhead camera. I can do a little bit of a thing here. Bear with me. I'm wearing the microphone. It goes with me. You can hear me if you can't see me. All right, where are my bags of dice? Here we go. Is this a giant bag of dice? Yeah, it is. You hear that? You hear that, folks? That is a dicey sound. All right. Let's make some room here. Let's make this happen. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. I feel like I should get this whole spiel down, right? I feel like it's important. This is my game, and I should be able to explain how it do play, right? Oh boy, I almost just caused a book avalanche. That is, ladies, gentlemen, that's who I am as a person. The kind of person that is likely to cause book avalanches anytime he has to make the most minor adjustment in his room. All right, give me a second. Almost there. Bear with me. A book avalanche is a dangerous, but sadly not uncommon in my particular neck of the woods thing. Let's see. Felix, that's so cool. So I have a friend that is doing his own tabletop system and is amazing. People creative like you. And thank you. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I also have a very hard time accepting the compliments because I have issues. All right, give me a second. Let me see. Is this, which one overhead? Here we go. Is this one? Will this one do it? Almost. Here's the hand. Okay, cool. And here's a giant bag of dice. And let's see if I can then get over on this side. Try and grab obsidian. Hey, there we go. There we go. And then let's kind of adjust this a little, right? Let's do this, and look at that. Look at that. Holy shit, we are professional. We are professional. I'm so proud of us. We all did this together. We all did this together. All right, folks, let's grab a whole bunch of D6. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Finishing the games is never a guarantee. All right, let's just. Oh my God, so many dice. There we go. This is what you came here for. You came here for the dice porn. Holy shit. I just need D6s. I just need D6s. But thank you for the 20 bits. All right, let's just kind of grab some D6s for. Do we? Okay, it's all fate dice. It's all fate dice. Let's get the fate dice out. Because you're the ones I don't need. How is it all fate dice? I'm not fate. Do I just have a separate bag with D6s? Did I grab the wrong bag? I think these are all fate dice. All the D6s are fate. Holy. I think I just have a separate bag with the D6s somewhere else. Yeah, these are all fate dice. Oh, here we go. We got one D6. No, this is the D7. This isn't even like, yeah, it's got like 7 on one side, so I can't even use that one. Another fate. Okay, wait, I've got to have a separate bag with D6s in that case. No, that's not right. All right, bear with me. Here we go. Are you? Yes, that literally is it. This bag is just D6s. I just grabbed the wrong bag. Oh, hey, Kat. Hi, you're here. Okay, so this is my Cthulhu dice bag, made with love by, it's got some cat hair on it. Made with love by, oh my God, I need to find her website. Geez. Hi, Kat. Hi. Sorry, he spooked me. She's behind me. Give me a second. I feel like this is important. If I'm showing off the dice bag, I should show off the dice bag maker and give them a little boost, right? But I don't have the link to them immediate, and I don't think she puts like a label on them. All right, folks, I'll look for her. But she makes like little Cthulhu themed and all sorts, like dragon themed and stuff, dice bags and other stuff. I will find her website later and link it. She is from New Zealand, and she makes these, and they're lovely. Hi, Kitty. Do you want to say hi to the people? I think Kitty wants to say hi to the people. Give me a second. This is important. We have dice. We have. Oh my God! We have this beautiful little kitty. Look at her. Full of rage. Anyway, I own a lot of dice. In case you hadn't noticed. So once I am done cuddling my kitty, once her rage level reaches the point where she needs to move, which feels like it could be any moment, she's She's kind of got that 1,000-yard stare going. There we go. Oh, the biting begins. The biting. Dad, release me. No, but not onto the dice. Girl, there's no room for you there. You see that? No, not that one. No! Oh, good. I almost ran an ad. Wait, no, did I run? Fuck! All right, fine. Bear. You know what? Let's while the ads run, for anybody watching who's who's not getting ads, I'm going to clean this up during ad time. Cleaning up during ad time. Sorry. Hit by cat. I will clean up the dice during ads. All right, there we go. Anyone on YouTube is not seeing the ads. But anyway. Okay, so let's clean. No! Let's clean all these up. Cat, could you not? Let's clean all these up and get some D6s on the table. All of this. I mean, I guess on the plus side, we're going to have a longer period before the next ad break. Right? All right. Ads should be over. Apologies for that. The cat leapt onto the table as cats do. That is a thing that cats, will do. Can confirm as cat owner. Source, cat just did it. And hit the ad button. I didn't think it was going to activate because we had just run ads a little while ago, but turns out no, it was up. It was working. It was in fact working. So so sorry for that, folks. Did not mean to inundate you with ads. I certainly don't have the viewer base to make those ads actually pay me anything. So trust me, it's not for my benefit. It's Twitch is gonna Twitch no matter what you do. We're almost there. We're almost finally cleaned up enough of every other dice I have. And let me be clear, these are not the only dice I own. There we go. That's a beefy. Oh, look at that. Look at the size of that. Size of that proper chunker. Anyway, let's get some proper D6s here so I can actually. All right, let's roll these out. There we go. Oh, my D10s are here too. Look at you. These are my Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition, Special Edition D10s. Look at them. I love these guys. I absolutely adore these guys. Might as well go ahead and do a little bit of a show off your dice kind of stream while we're at it. Why the heck not, right? So these are my Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition because, look, folks, if you sat me down, you put a gun to my head, and you said, Dan, from now on, you may only play one tabletop RPG forever and ever and ever. Choose one. By the way, check this out. Check this out. You see the little? Yeah, wow, it does focus pretty well. Look at that. Look at the little changeling butterfly on those dice. That is lovely. Also, I'm very impressed by how well my little overhead camera focuses up close. Actually, this is really nice. I should do some mini painting streams, shouldn't I? I've never painted a mini in my life. I'm gonna suck at it, but I mean, sucking at things hasn't stopped me before. Anyway, so those are my Changeling the Dreaming 20th Anniversary Edition D10s. I don't know, do a random roll. Let's see. Well, that's not great already. A difficulty 6, so that's 1. That's a 9, 7, 7, 8. That's 4 successes. There we go. No 10s, so no rerolls. But a 1. I hate that I forget which editions once remove successes on. Anyway, going to assume that was 3 successes. I'm going to say 3 successes. It's a pretty solid freaking roll. So I'll take it. All right, put these away because we don't actually need them. It's not a pool of d10s that we're rolling, right? Then I've got these. I want to show these off. As I put them away, this little dice. Now this is a proper full set. You got your D4, D6, D10s, both D8, D12, and D20. These lovely little dice are from Die Hard Dice, not sponsored, not by me anyway. This specific one is by Die Hard Dice, but it is the dice set that was specifically made for, and I've called them out in the show before, Explorers Wanted. They actually had a custom dice set color made for them, and this is it. I forget the name of the dice set, but it is Numenera flavored, and so you've got these sort of shocking pink and this aged gold and these strata to them. They're really nice, and the colors and the letters and everything. These are lovely, and I bought them to support another podcast which I really like. So cool, showing those off. And then these are also just other Die Hard dice. Like this is my big chonker D20, metal D20. Look at that guy. If you could pick this guy, he is heavy. This is a big old boy. Like he's got some heft to him. You throw this at somebody and you're gonna do some damage. That 20 right there is gonna get branded onto their skull. If you hit them with this. What number even? Oh, that's a 3. On the other hand, sometimes you gotta roll a giant. It's a 12. All right, you gotta roll a giant D20 sometimes. You just need to have a big, heavy chonker of a D20. Now, let's put away all the others. The time has come to put away childish things. That would leave some table marks when running. Yes. Do not roll that onto bare wood. I don't suggest rolling it on bare wood. It's nobody's going to be happy about the results of that, especially not the wood. Do not throw it at anybody else's head unless they really deserve it. Because you are going to do some damage. So many of these, I'm going to tell you guys, like this little set that's like, it's kind of like iridescent, pink touched blue. These were also from Die Hard Dice. This whole little set here. They make good dice. I wish they were sponsoring me. I would give y'all a code. I could give you the Explorers Wanted code, but I'm not Explorers Wanted. So go find them out and get their code, use it. Die Hard Dice, I know you're watching. Sponsor me. I like your stuff. All right, here we go. Bunch of D6s. That's kind of what I was hoping to have like half an hour ago when I first started on this digression. I said, I'm going to show y'all how my system works, and then everything went wrong for a little while. So I'm pushing them all on the side here. They're just out of camera now. And now, let's see. Let's look at our system. Let's look at how this goes. So, an action roll. You are a character. You are taking an action where the result of that action is in doubt, right? So this is very classic tabletop RPG kind of writing. It's like you don't roll for everything. If you're just crossing the street, you don't roll for that. But if you're crossing the street while cars are coming from both directions and you're trying to chase somebody who's getting away, yes, you roll. Right, that's where the rolls come in when it matters if the result of this action fails or not, if the result is up in the air, and if the result of it matters narratively to the story, you roll. So at its most basic, an action roll with no modifiers consists of a single 6-sided die. So that's it. If you are just making a roll, you've got nothing else. No pool, no aptitudes, no modifiers, no equipment, no nothing. You are rolling a single D6. And the roll only succeeds on a result of 1. So by default, it's a difficult system. Okay, I guess not that difficult, apparently. But by default, you have a 1 in 6, right, chance of, so just under 20% chance of success on a roll with no other modifiers, though nothing else. It's pretty low chances because if you are rolling just your default die and nothing else, you're probably in dire straits. Your chances of success are supposed to be pretty low at that point. Now, how do we improve our chances? How do we make it better? How do we be adventurers and heroes and roll, big handfuls of these, right? This is what you want to do. You don't want to. You're not here to just roll a single dinky die. You're here to get a handful of them, right? And just do this and roll. And hey, there we go. That's a one. That's a one. That's a one. I did it, right? That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. So how do we get to that point? How do we get to that point? Well, as a game designer, I've given you a couple of things you can do. So again, let's go with your initial die. We're building a dice pool. We're building a mystery. Building a dice pool here. Now, the first thing that you're going to do, I did skip that on a result of 1, then you either choose to write or discover the result of that roll. We'll get to that. That's going to be fun. So, first thing you do is apply your modifiers. Modifiers, first of all, big note here, modifiers cannot lower a dice pool below a single d6. So again, at worst, no matter what, this is the lowest you can roll, one single d6. So there's always that chance of a 1, as we saw during my initial roll. Now, if you have aptitudes, so your characters in this game are defined by, you don't have attributes, right? You don't have like strength, dexterity, anything like that. Your characters are created by a series of aptitudes. These aptitudes are drawn from your character's story. I'll get to that eventually. For character creation, I can go over that. Suffice it to say, you will have a series of aptitudes, and these are pretty open-ended. Think of a little bit like aspects in fate-based games. So your aptitude could be, let's say we are rolling to, let's make this something action-oriented, right? So let's say, and I think I used this example in some of the fiction here. Your character is trying to roll a boulder out of the way that is covering the entrance to a cave that you suspect your friends are trapped in. It is raining, the ground is muddy, it is dark at night, and you are alone. We can also do this later with you'll have help, but as of right now, you are alone. So your character that is trying to do this, what aptitudes does this character have that would affect this situation? If we have a character who has for example, brawny aptitude, since this is something that you're going to use your strength for, I would go, cool, that applies. If your character, you make your case, kind of like Fate, where, for example, if somebody's, nobody has he doesn't have a brawny or strong or any sort of aptitude that gives you physical strength, but maybe a character has an aptitude that is inventive or clever or resourceful. And let's say, for example, you have resourceful 2. An aptitude. Aptitudes will go from 1 to 3. And so let's say you have resourceful 2. Actually, this is pretty much very close to what I'm doing, not exactly. But let's say you have a resourceful 2, and you go, hey, I want to use resourceful for this role. I want to use my resourceful by saying that I look around and I find random sticks and smaller stones that I can use to kind of build a lever kind of mechanism very quickly to give me some extra leverage on this. And I'll go, cool, that's a cool application of your insightful aptitude. Take +2. So you'll grab 2 more dice and you'll add them to that pool. Cool. So right now, with your aptitude, let's say that's the only aptitude you have right now. Although you could let's say you also have an aptitude of cool-headed. And this roll is an action roll that you're trying to get through. It's raining, it's all this stuff, and you say, hey, can I apply my cool-headed +1 to this roll as well, because I'm going to stay cool, work, build this little pulley. I'm not going to lose my composure. I'm doing this methodically so I can move this boulder out of the way. And I'll go, cool, yeah, that applies. That I like that. Take another +1 because your cool-headed aptitude is a 1. And there we go. So now you're rolling 4 dice. Your chances are much better by now, right? Even just this roll alone, let's see what it looks like. It's not a guarantee, but there we go. We got a couple of 1s. So even this roll, this would have succeeded. But let's say you're not convinced. Also, the GM is not done fucking with you, right? So, but before we get that, let's look items and equipment. Do you have? All right, you are improvising here with this stick and rock in the example, but do you have any tools, any items, any equipment that might give you a bonus to this roll? It's going to be a lot like aptitudes. They might have, a +1 to a +3, and it would just adds extra dice as needed. I'm not going to add any. I'm going to say you don't have any equipment. You're just working with your hands and what you found around. So we're going to kind of skip items and equipment. But again, they work a lot like aptitudes, with the difference being that items and equipment might run out or break during use, or you can lose them, etc., etc. So they're not just part of your character like an aptitude. They're items and equipment. And then gifts, numina, and magic. So these are your powers. These are your magic and special abilities. You might have something that's giving you aptitudes or giving you resonance. We'll touch into resonance very shortly on a roll. But again, for this basic roll, we're not using magic. Whatever magic our character has in this game, useless in this situation. Not something that can be used to roll a boulder. Maybe it's like emotional. Maybe he's got some like empathy powers. It's not going to help him move a boulder. So we're going to skip that for now. We're keeping it relatively simple. Situational modifiers. Now and discords is where the GM starts to fuck with you. So the GM says, hey, all right, cool. So you have these aptitudes. You've got 4 dice to start with. But as we said before, it is dark. It is raining. The ground is slippery. All of those things together are going to make this very difficult, and it's going to be a full -3 for the situation. Holy shit! All your advantages went away, and you're back to just 1 dice. And if your character, or let's say this was a sunny day, you still had all 4, none of these situational modifiers apply, but maybe your character has a discord. Discords are basically the bad things that have happened to your character, or they can be things that your character, like some of them can be permanent, some could be short term. So for example, a long-term discord, for example, in the examples here, impatient -1 discord would remove 1d6 from any rolls in which our impatience would affect their outcome. Also, injuries are treated as discords and have a penalty as well. So if you are very injured, you're going to have penalties to your roll. So again, let's say we had some discords. Let's say the GM didn't take away 3. He said, hey, the rain and the slippery make this at a -2. You're still at 2. But earlier in the game, you got into a fight, you were hurt, and you do have an injury -1 discord. So that also takes a 1 dice. You're back to just 1 dice. That sucks. Now, what can you do? On an average tabletop RPG, at this point, you're kind of shit out of luck, right? And I just explained how stuff like D&D and honestly most tabletop RPGs work, except I'm using a D6 instead of a D20. But it's still the same basic thing, right? You have a target number you're trying to hit. Instead of adding or removing dice, you're adding or removing numbers to the result of the roll, but still same, like you're just adding or removing modifiers. In D&D, it might be a +2 to hit, but a -1 because of bad footing, whatever, and it still ends up being a final modifier of a plus or a minus to that roll. In this case, the plus or minus adds or removes dice from your pool. In D&D, the plus or minus affects the final result, but it's still the same basic concept. And in a game, if this was a game just like D&D, that'd basically be the end of it. So in a game like D&D, let's do that same scenario in a game kind of like D&D. You've got your D20. I say that your DC for this roll to move this boulder is a 15, because it's a heavy boulder, and that's just the base DC for moving something like that. And you go, okay, cool. Well, I've got strength. I've got a high strength, and that gives me a +2 to this. Cool, but also, I apply situational modifiers, and you've got a -1 from from the bad footing and the weather, and and that's it. And then once all those modifiers and stuff back and forth are applied, that's it. And then you just roll your dice, and you're that's it. There's no further real modification you can do. You might have advantage in a situation. Or you might have inspiration that you can spend, or maybe you might not. But that's it in a nutshell. But in this game, in this system, you're not done yet, right? We went through that quick back and forth. And once you do that once, it goes very quickly. This is more long-winded because I'm going into examples. But, you know, we did that back and forth. We added back and forth, and you're back at just 1 die. And you're like, well, I really want to help my friends. So what do I do at this point? Some games might let you do if you got inspiration or if you got willpower points to spend or anything. In this game, you have what's called your pool. Your pool, your connection pool in this case. Each character has a connection pool of dice that they can risk on it, and it should actually be capital R. Oh. Oh, there we go. They can risk on any roll to increase their chances of success. A player may risk up to 9 dice in their character's connection pool on an action roll. They are added to the roll like any other modifier as additional dice, and they represent the amount of effort, importance, and energy that the character is willing to put into their attempt. If the roll succeeds, all connection dice risked on that roll is returned to the character's pool, but if the roll fails, all risk connection dice are lost. While risking a lot of connection dice on a roll can increase your chances of success substantially, a single bad roll can wipe out your entire pool if you're not careful. Connection can be recovered in various ways. See page blah blah for detail. You'll see a lot of placeholders PXX because I don't know what the page numbers are going to be on the final product. But this is the kind of stuff that I try to do for that I criticize in other games. Like, hey, give me a quick, what page am I going to see this? I just talked about connection. I'm going to have the question like, okay, so you're telling me I can risk connection and I can lose it, but how do I get it back? How do I know how bad this risk is? If I lose all my connection dice, how bad is that truly? Do I get them all back next scene, or are they gone forever, or what's going on? Like, hey, go to this page to see how to get them back, and then you are informed. And then we'll see resonance and all this other stuff shortly. But let's focus on that connection pool. So by default, when you first start a session, your connection pool is always reset to 9. You start with 9 dice in your connection pool. Throughout the game, there are ways to spend them and there are ways to regain them. There are also some characters with the ability to share connection pool with others, etc., etc. Some powers may ask you to spend a connection pool dice to activate them, particularly powerful things and everything. But this is your dice pool as you start the game session. Now, you might notice that's a decent amount of dice, and there's absolutely nothing stopping me on this roll to move this boulder that we've been using as an example on going, I want to save my friends. I still have 9 connection dice. I want to add them all. 10 dice. Let's fucking go. And you grab your big handful of 10 dice and you roll it, you risk it, and there it is. There it is. You got a single one. You made it. What happens when you make it? That means you get to recover. All those dice go back in your pool. You risked them, but you succeeded, and you recover all the dice back in your pool, and you have them back to spend next round. But let's say you had done all that because you are risking it, and here's why you're not going to do that every time, because there's still a solid chance. Well, this one, no, this is the 2 ones, but there's a solid chance that a roll will come up like this. And in any other game, you'd feel great about that roll. Look at all those 6s and 5s and whatnot. In this game, that just sucked for you. Let's use this one. We can barely tell the difference between the number. I'm going to change that one out. There we go. Anyway, oh boy, you just risked all your connection dice, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, I do have enough. You just risked all your connection dice, and you still failed. And if you failed, we'll see what happens, right? Of course, but they're all gone. Your connection pool is now at 0. That's a sucky place to be, because now next time on the next roll, you only have this, and you have no way. You don't have any dice in your dice pool to modify them. You're going to have to find a way to start recovering them before you do that. So it is very risky. Like there is, and it kind of reflects that at the beginning of your adventure, you have all this energy. You're raring to go, and you have the ability to invest as much of yourself as you want to invest into your rolls and your actions. And you can invest very little, or you can choose to risk it all. And your chances when you have a big dice pool, your chances of success are very, very good. So while you have all this energy, you can keep pushing yourself. You can keep putting it all on the line, roll after roll after roll. But if you keep doing that roll after roll after roll, sooner or later, you're going to crash out. You're going to crash out. You're going to have all those dice come up and not a single one will come in, and you're going to lose that whole pool. It's all gone away and you're back to your single die because you've been putting your all into every single action and you are done. You don't have it in you anymore. You're going to have to find a way to recover before you can put in that level of effort, that level of energy into your actions, into your efforts, etc., etc. So that's kind of how that reflects. So a more cautious player might go like, you know what, I'm going to risk 3 dice in my pool and, roll 4 dice. And hey, still solid chance of success, and you got one. You got one. Getting a success on a single dice out of 4, much better chances than just on a single one, and you got them back. But had that roll failed, had it come up like this, well, you lost 3, but look at that. You still have 6 for later. So if you're a little bit more judicious, you're going to be able to like put a steady amount of effort behind things and not risk as much. But then how do you get them back? Okay, so now let's move on to the rest of this. So this is how many dice you're willing to risk. And now we come to sort of the special cases, right? One is resonance. So resonance is kind of this game's version of rolling with advantage, right? In D&D, when you roll with advantage, you roll your dice twice and you take the best result, or you roll 2 dice and take the best result. Resonance, and so that increases your chances of success substantially. Resonance does the same thing, but in a different way, right? But it increases your chances. So when you have resonance on a roll, that means that you are performing a roll that matches your character's. Sorry, my phone is buzzing. Never mind. All good. People. Anyway. Yeah, when you have resonance on something, you are doing something that is the most common source here of resonance on the roll is the character's own resonant nature, an adjective that describes a core aspect of their being. See character creation on page X for more details on character's resonant nature. Certain powerful items known as resonant artifacts can also grant resonance on rolls in which they are used. Some secret abilities in Numina can also grant resonance on specific rolls. So it is something that is granted to you on a specific roll for certain circumstances. When you're rolling with resonance, it means that your actions are in sync with the nature of the world, either your own inner nature or the core nature of the artifact or magical effect that you are employing. In this state of flow, movement, thought, and action all become easier and more instinctive, all but guaranteeing success. You're basically entering your ultra instinct mode when you have resonance. As the natural, all but guaranteeing success as the natural magic of the world flows through you. So at this point, if you have resonance on a roll, you choose. Am I going to harmonize or am I going to amplify? Am I going to harmonize with the resonance or am I going to amplify the resonance? So if I choose to harmonize, let's say on that roll, I have resonance because my resonant nature, that core adjective, is, let's say it is faithful. And I'm doing this for my friends. I'm trying to rescue my friends. And you say, hey, would my character's resonant nature, faithful, apply to this role because I am risking myself out in the storm trying to rescue, the friends that I am faithful to? And I would go, you know what? Yes. You reach into yourself and you feel that your actions match what you are trying to do. Apply resonance to this role. You gain resonance to this role. So at this point, the player now has a choice. They can either harmonize, which means that they can apply connection without risk, which means you can add as many dice from your current connection pool as you want to the roll with no risk. Even if the roll fails, you will not lose any dice from your collection pool. So let's say, for example, we're back to our character, right? We have 1 dice and we have 6 dice in our connection pool instead of 9 right now. But you've got resonance, so you've got a couple of options. if you want to succeed, you've still got 6 dice. It'd be nice to get more dice back, but primarily this is your main thing. You want to succeed on this. You've got resonance, so you get to apply these dice without risk. You're not gonna lose them, which means now you can roll all these dice, and no matter what happens, in this case we succeeded. You see how easy it is. Even with a big dice pool, you might still only get the one success. We succeeded, cool, continue as normal. But if we had failed, this had been this, normally, shit, I just risked all of my dice. No, you get these back because resonance. You still might have failed, but you don't lose your wind. I'll let you try again. But let's say instead of these 6 resonance die, you're actually down to like 2. You're down to, you need more. You know, behind that boulder are monsters and stuff. You're gonna need more dice back. So you might choose to take a bigger risk. And you might go, you know what? No, I'm going to amplify. I'm going to amplify instead of harmonize. When you do that, you're going to regain connection regardless of how the roll goes, which means you might add these 2 and go, okay, cool. I'm just rolling 3 dice. My chances are still not great, but better than with only 1. We roll. Fuck yeah, we got 2 successes. We got 2 hits. Excellent. That did it. We did it. And we get these back that we spent. And because we amplified, because we had resonance, we're going to get 3 more dice added back to our pool. So now we're back up to 5, which is a more comfortable place to be. But let's say that same roll, 1, we added our last 2 dice from our connection pool, and we chose to amplify, and this is riskier. This is riskier, has bigger rewards, but it's riskier. We roll it again, failed. Absolute fail. So you lose the 2 that you risked. You resolve the roll, but as usual, because it did fail, but at the end, you're gonna get your connection dice pool goes back to 3, because even though it failed, because it was a resonance, you still regain your breath a little. You still regain some of your self-confidence, and you're able, or you know, or however you want to explain it for your character, and you get some of that energy back, and so you could be able to use that in future rolls. It really is up to the player. At all points in this system, the player is deciding how much risk they're willing to place themselves into it. The control of that is always up to the player. The GM can, affect the roll by applying dissonances and specific specific negatives due to the environment or other effects or anything, but outside of that, the main thing is always player choice. So the player has the choice of how many dice from their pool they're willing to risk, and the benefits and disadvantages that come with that. When they do have extra bonuses to roll, it's always the player's choice to use that bonus to either move forward more conservatively by applying their connection without risk but not gaining anything extra, or taking that risk but also having the chance of gaining more connection and refilling that pool, right? Hopefully that makes some level of sense. Then, now at this point, just like in any other system, you're like, all right, is any of your friends helping you on this? Is this the kind of action that you need help for, and somebody else is helping you? And if another of the characters says, yeah, I'm going to assist, right? Characters may be able to assist one another in certain roles where it makes sense. The guide is a final arbiter of whether one or more characters may be able to assist one another in a role. For example, if you're not in the same room, I'm probably not going to let you, do the thing. I'm probably not going to let you, assist one another if you're not physically there with one another, right? So there's a level of judgment call, but it's encouraged to be generous and allow assistance as long as it can be reasonably argued by the players. So the player assisting, just like with every other part of the system, players always have a choice of how they're going to do it. The player assisting gets to make a choice of how they're assisting. The choices are either you are going to attune yourself to the action, or you're going to boost the action. And it's similar to harmonize and amplify. One is more conservative and one is riskier. Attune, if assisting character has an aspect that applies to the role, they can add that aspect's rating as dice to the roll. This reflects the application of a character's particular skills, knowledge, or experience to the task at hand. This is the easiest way to assist and carries no risks to the person assistance, but but also brings no particular reward if the action succeeds. So this is the equivalent of assistance in most average systems. Like, oh, I have, like, you're using your forgery skill. Hey, I too have my forgery skill. Let's work on this together. Since we both have the same skill, we roll and we do whatever the assistance mechanics are in that game. And that is similar to what we have here. Hey, I have an aspect that applies to your role. I would like to assist you. And so no extra risk or anything, just like whatever that aptitude is gets added to the roll. The downside with that is that there's no, it's the conservative, easy way to help, but there is no extra reward for the player. But let's say the player trying to help, wants to do more, wants to push further, maybe they don't have any aptitudes specifically that help, or the aptitude they have is only a +1 and it's not likely to help much. They want to do more to help. They can choose to boost. This is riskier because it basically means that you, as the other character, as the other player, are choosing to risk some of your connection on this other character's role. Like, if you don't have the specific skill or experience to assist someone else, but that's not going to stop you. So you risk as many connection from your personal pool as you like on assisting another character, adding their dice to the roll as normal. And here's why you would do this, besides just being able to push more dice and hopefully make that action succeed. If the roll succeeds, because you chose to take the risk, I'm going to reward you. If the roll succeeds, you regain your spent connection and you gain an extra connection point for your trouble. But if the roll fails, you'll lose your risk connection. So it is a risk, but there is a reward that comes along with the increased risk. And that's kind of the vibe that I'm trying to go with a lot of the actions here. Multiple characters can assist in a single roll. Within reason, the guide is final call on how many characters can assist on a given action. Note that a character's resonance does not apply to their assistance attempt. However, the resonance of the person rolling does affect it. So if the player rolling chooses to harmonize, for example, assistants are at no risk of losing connection if they boost. So keep that in mind. Resonance can be very powerful, especially combined with assistance, because at that point, if I have resonance on that roll and I choose to harmonize, which means I can, we've got the one die and I'm gonna add every dice in my pool with no risk, and I choose to do that, and you're assisting me because I have resonance. You might choose, maybe you only have like 3 dice in your pool as an assistant, and before you might have, you're like, oof, I don't want to risk this. I don't want to risk those dice. I don't want to lose them because I only have 3. I'm just going to tune and give you just a default +1. But now, oh, you have resonance? Fuck it. Let's do this together. I'm going all in. I'm boosting. I'm going to put in all 3 of my dice into that, while it's putting your dice from your pool, for example, here, and we're rolling all this together, because even if this dice pool runs, okay, this was success, so cool, so I would get my 3 back, and then I would get an extra bonus for doing that as the assistant. But let's say that roll had failed, like this, right, and not a single one, because of the resonance that the person making the roll had. I don't lose these. I still get them back. So even though I failed, I was more willing to take that bigger risk and if we succeed, get that reward of the extra connection dice, because I'm risking a lot less, right? Because you have resonance. Resonance can be very powerful. And everyone in the group might go like, fuck it. Yes, that's a great way for all of us to get our spirits up and gain more connection pool. Everybody pitch into this action that has resonance, that is resonant in. The party works like a well-oiled machine, and all of a sudden you're rolling, you're rolling all of these dice because everybody in the party has come together and boosted, and this is almost guaranteed to be. There we go. There's a couple of ones already. So this is almost guaranteed to be a success. That's a D8. That doesn't need to be there. And that would mean everybody who went all in on that resonant action gets their dice back and an extra dice for their effort. So everybody comes out of that more energized, feeling better, and ready to face the day. So almost without meaning to, without intending to, the system itself encourages this sort of level of collaboration, helping each other back and forth, and sort of like, before, when a character is good at something, right? I am the character that picks locks, I am the character that searches rooms and everything. Everybody just gets out of their way. Here, if your character is resonant at something, has resonance on a specific type of action, is very good at that, the rest of your party assisting you on that, only like, yeah, it feels good when things work well. So everybody comes out of that feeling better. Is kind of, and that wasn't designed on purpose, but that's kind of how it worked out with the way these results are. So cool. That's it in a nutshell in terms of determining whether you succeed or not. How many dice are you going to roll? And if people are helping you, how can they help you? And what are the results for them from that help, from the risk, any risk that they are taking, if they are taking a risk on helping you. Cool. And that all leads us to determining if the roll succeeded or didn't succeed, right? Pass and fail. Well, not that. Yes, pass and fail, right? If even a single dice is a 1, that is a pass. If no dice are 1s, that is a fail. But if you pass, if you succeed, the players once again up at a choice, because as always, the player gets to choose the final way that their character interacts with the world, right? And if the roll fails, then I'm going to come back because we're actually going to have to run ads very shortly, and I want to spend some time with the action resolution of Discover and Writing. So I'll just kind of skip to what happens if you fail. That one's simple. If none of the dice rolled are 1s, then your action has failed in some way. The guide will narrate how the outcome of your action goes, usually in a way that you or your character may not have intended. Any dice from your pool that were risked on the roll are lost. A failed roll with a lot of risked dice may leave you with little or no dice in your pool very quickly, so be careful. So failing a roll is no different from failing a roll in any other game, right? You didn't get the thing, or rather, in this case, it's not so much about getting the thing or not getting the thing, it's about narrative control. You don't get narrative control over the results of the roll. The GM might decide to let you, it's like, you know what, yeah, that you failed, but with all that effort that was spent or whatever, yeah, you do unlock the chest. Your lockpick succeeds, but like there are these serious consequences that happen. You make a lot of noise, the guards are here, or no, you failed. You don't get to open the box. The box, your pick breaks. The box is unopenable for now. What are you going to do? What's your next action? It's up to the GM, but the point is that it is a narrative control thing. The GM gains narrative control over the results of the action versus a lot of other games where pass or fail, no matter what, the GM gets the narrative control no matter what. If you succeed, the GM tells you how you succeeded. If you fail, the GM tells you how you failed. In this case, narrative control will shift back and forth. So if you fail, GM has narrative control, just like with an average tabletop RPG. Yes, the power of friendship. Exactly, Phoenix. That's. I didn't intend to code the power of friendship into the game, but I kind of did without meaning to. But if you succeed, now the player has narrative control, and they get to choose how much of that narrative control they're going to wield, and they can either gain some benefits or restrictions depending on how much of that they're willing to beat. So we'll look at that very shortly once we come back from these ads. So folks, I have my buttons today. My button ability today is I'm trying to do this. The wrong thing. I'm trying to do this. All right, we're back. Oh, no, wrong screen. Here we go. Well, the thing is, I don't have a screen. There we go. I don't have a button for this screen because of reasons. But, well, there we go. There we go. It just worked. Anyway, folks. All right, let's, so. We've made a roll. I promise during gameplay, a single roll does not take half an hour to resolve. I'm just going into extra detail. You're getting the director's notes here, but you rolled, right, and you succeeded. Fuck yeah, you succeeded at your action. Now you have one last quick choice to make, and your choice is whether you're going to discover the result of that roll or you're going to write the result of that roll. Now, if you choose to discover the result of that roll, this is very similar. Don't let it scare you away. Discovering the result of the roll is basically what happens. Again, it's what happens in most tabletop RPGs. If the player chooses to discover the results of their successful action, they get to add 1 dice to your connection pool. So that's the first reason. Why would you choose to discover versus write? Well, the big thing with discovering versus writing is that you gain 1 extra dice for your connection pool. So on a roll where you don't need to maintain full control, where you're willing to let the GM do a yes and at you, you might as well just do that. You might as well just say, no, discover. Cool. And you'll get an extra dice. So that's an easy way to, I succeeded in an action, I'm letting it go, I'm letting it flow, and I feel better about myself because I have a little bit more energy, I feel a little bit more energized because I succeeded at this. So that's the main reason why you might choose to discover instead of write. When you write, you don't get the dice, you don't get the extra connection point. And then the guide describes, the action succeeds, which is the important part. I bolded it, and I have it again in a bullet point. The action succeeds, and the guide describes the results, which may not be exactly what you intended, but will still be successful. Think of it as success with complications. Your action is a success, but there may be unexpected complication, additional detail, or new event that moves the story forward. See the guide section, and you know what? Let me add. See page XX in the guide section. I haven't written this yet. This will be written for details and advice on applying complications and twists to the player roles. Like part of what I'm going to write here, and I definitely haven't written the GM section yet, is going to be sort of a lot of advice for, hey, how as a GM do you keep things interesting? Because here's the main thing with discovering is that there is a cost, right? Because the player is choosing to discover, they are gaining a benefit, and that benefit is that extra connection dice back in their pool. Oh, I just realized this. Hi, first of all, hello. Hi, cat. Hi, sweetheart. Are you just gonna this is not you? Anyway, folks, this is my cat. Welcome. This is her fur right on camera. That's cat, kitty, cat, kitty. Oh my God. Sweetheart. Get over here. Come on. Oh my God. Esme has sweetheart. Come on. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. Oh my God. Come here, sweetheart. Oh, there we go. Look at her. You can see her in the corner. That's her in the corner. That's her on my lap. All right, sweetheart. I love you. Mm-hmm. You are not hungry, though. I know you're not hungry. The dangers of gaming as a cat owner. Sorry, have to pet her. She is demanding the pets as you. No, don't go back up to the dice table, sweetheart. No, the dice table is for dice. The lap is for cats. Come on. If you were to just, there we go. You can just lay down. You can just lay down on the lap. That's right. There we go. Who's a good girl laying down? Okay, cool. I can get back to my thing. So, cat break is over. Anyway, cool. There's going to be guidance given. Oh, hi, sweetheart. There's going to be guidance given to the GM, to the guide in this game. That's what we call the GM or DM in this game, the guide, to kind of make sure that this is not used as a punishment. You should never, the idea is never to undermine the character's actions. It is about narrative control, right? It is about, hey GM, cool. So the character, the player has chosen to discover, which means they succeed. The most important point to remember for both the player and the guide is that regardless of the twist or complication introduced, the action attempted is a success. A player choosing to discover the results of the roll is not an excuse to punish them for a good roll. It is an opportunity granted by the player to the guide to introduce a new and exciting element, giving up narrative control in exchange for recovering some connection. So the point is, you're basically telling the GM, cool, I got what I wanted, otherwise have fun with this. And the GM is encouraged to do exactly that. It's not meant to be like, oh, you know, you open. It's not a yes but, right? It is. That's the thing. Like, it's not meant to be like, oh, you open the chest, but now the guards know you're here. It should be something that moves the story forward. It should be something interesting. The idea is that it's about the narrative, and it's about giving the GM a chance to do something cool, interesting, or surprising, springing forth from the action, not a way to take away your success in the roll. And that's it in a nutshell. That's this cover. But write, if you choose to write, this result allows the player to take full narrative control over the results of the action. Have fun with it. Describe the awesome, lucky, skilled, exciting, or just plain cool way in which you succeed in your action. While the guide has final veto power over any results, both they and the player are encouraged to come up with a favorable result within some basic guidelines. Now, here's the thing. This is something that might not be necessarily needed to be said, but it's different enough from a lot of games where I felt it needed to be pointed out, right? Because when you're giving players narrative control, depending on the player, they may not be used to it, right? They may not be. I'm not saying you can't trust the players. That's definitely not it. It is more about letting the player know what it means, right, to have narrative control. So it's like, hey, don't make alterations to the characters of other players, such as killing them. You can add complications for them and affect the things around them, but don't intrude on the creation of a fellow player. 2. Keep your narration in sync with the established facts and tone of the game. If you need to ask the guide questions or prompt the other players for responses during your narration, please do so. Keep your narration reasonably short. And one useful approach when writing a result is to create a situational advantage for yourself or your companions in a future role. So a quick example for that. And I'll write out a proper example eventually, but that's the basic layer. So basically, don't be a dick to the other players. Don't fuck the other players over with your role results. Don't go crazy, right? We're playing a fantasy medieval style game. Then don't introduce a B-42 bomber appearing out of nowhere, right? Respect the fiction. And don't suddenly just give yourself 8 arms and start shooting fireballs. That's not it. Just describe how you succeed and have fun with it. Show how cool your character is while they succeed, that sort of thing. And don't take over the game for half an hour. Describe your action and let's keep moving. Like I said, I'll have some examples eventually later on, but that's basically it. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. That's the action system. I know that felt like a lot, but when you go over it quickly, when you look at the cheat sheet, it's pretty straightforward. Start with a single d6. Apply your modifiers. If you have aptitudes, those add dice. If you have items, those add dice. If you have gifts, lumina, or magic, they may add or remove dice based on the effect. Any situational or discords also get applied, so pluses or minuses, quick math done. Then you apply resonance. Do you have resonance? Yes, look at this stuff. If you don't have it, skip this entirely, move on to risk. If you do have resonance, player chooses whether to harmonize or amplify. Either way, you've got the 1 dice. Now at this point, how much connection are you going to risk? The player decides how much connection they're willing to risk onto that roll, or not risk any connection at all, however they decide. At that point, the other players can go, hey, I want to help, or no, I don't want to help, and how they choose to do that. Assuming no, then you roll. Roll the dice, boop. If any of them are a 1, you succeed, and you choose whether to write or to discover. Wait, no, actually, no, sorry. Write or discover, right? And if you fail, then the guy does the thing. Boom, done. Not that crazy complicated when you actually go through it quickly. It just might take a few examples to get. Okay, so here's an example that I wrote in. I don't think really need to read the whole thing because it is basically the example I just worked through. It is pretty much Jackie is trying to move a large stone. Jackie's restless nature is impulsive. So it's some more specific examples of how all this stuff would have done. Jackie has this many dice, what they can risk, what would have happened with each different result, etc. If this resonant nature had applied, what we would have done, etc., etc. So hopefully that made some level of sense on how the basic game system is. And also you got to see me roll a whole bunch of die and just dump a giant bag full of dice onto the table. This D10 doesn't need to be here. This D8 doesn't need to be here. None of the, actually, no, sorry. These are, no, these D10s, these don't need to be here. But these are, now these can stay. This is part of a set, but this one goes back in the bag. I'm going to try and keep them separated. I'm going to try and keep them all right. So this one goes back in the bag with the set, and these two go in the other bag, which is everything except D6s. But cool. Dan, you ask, why do you have your dice separated like that? Reasons. Mostly because I'm working on a game that is all about D6 dice pools. So I wanted to have all my D6s easily accessible. And then I forgot which dice bag I actually put them in. And so you got the show that you got earlier in the stream, but you got the idea. All right, let's move over to dice betrayal is my assumption. Got to keep the felons away from the good dice. Also a little bit of that, but mostly it's just I needed all the D6s together somewhere, and then I guess while I was at it, I also had. Have all my dice separated by type. Everybody has a way. Might be by criminality, by type, by size, by color. For me, it was all the D6s and also a bunch of like my little personal favorite, just little D4 through D20 sets that were in that bag, because that's the bag that I would take with me to like Dave's place for Saturday recording. Which, by the way, rest of Fandible. I'm gonna need you to know what time. Need you to tell me what time we're recording. The rest of Fandible. You haven't gotten back to me. Anyway, hey, thank you, Struggle Buzz, for go ahead and being quicker than I am at pressing at typing, because I'm not that quick at pressing the buttons, unfortunately. Anyway, let's get back to it. So so this is that's the system. That's the system. Again, it is very closely, a lot of this is closely based around The Pool by James V. West. So thank you, James, for creating that system. I have grabbed it and done terrible things with it. And I have, again, made some modifications so it fits in with my own game. But that is the base system. And so now, as we go on and are creating powers and abilities and stuff, that's part. I keep all my dice in an old whiskey bag that I can whip around and knock someone unconscious. Yeah, exactly. You probably a Crown Royal bag. Those are the good ones. But yeah. So as we create stuff, they only get released if they behave. The dice are the people that you're whipping unconscious with the dice. But anyway, not you know what the bonuses are. So now when we're creating powers and abilities and stuff, we have a better idea of what to assign, what a +3 here means, or what giving somebody resonance might mean, or something like that. And both exactly. Sounds like both. Yeah, definitely. All right, so let's see, how are we doing? Cool. Time is fine. Crafter. So I've got a few character classes, right? Back to the character classes, the callings. So the callings are divided into 3 sort of families. The game has 3 families of magic words in them. I'm not gonna. We will be here all day if I start going back into the whole history of all of this. But basically, corpora callings are those that are more physical and elemental in nature. Mente calling are those that are more psychic, illusion, thoughts, feelings. And pneuma callings are sort of like the catch-all weird category, meta magic, spirits, teleportation, stuff like that, messing with the raw stuff of magic, that falls under Pneuma. And then each one of them was originally going to have 3 callings, but then I fucked myself over, and now there's 4. Now there's 4 in each one. The 4th one has not been created, and so my current status right now is the Bulwark character, who is kind of our tank. That one's basically draft complete. The Conflux is really complicated, but mostly done. Basically, the Conflux, think Avatar: The Last Airbender, elemental control, but also more like you can take the various elements, you can mix and match, you can sort of like have a loadout of different elemental gems that give you access to different elemental aspects that let you then create effects with that through various flows that let you modify those elements, create new things, that you can have like internal bonuses, you can have external bonuses and powers, examples on how to combine them. There's a lot going on with the Conflux. It took us a while. And then now we go to the Crafter, and there's also a lot going on with the Crafter, honestly. Everything else, look, man, let's go back to the Bulwark real quick. I miss the simplicity of the Bulwark. Look at the Bulwark. Bulwark has some powers with a couple of sub-levels each, and a specific discord that happens when you apply, when you get to certain powers. But that's it. You've got like a bunch of base powers, and then they get stronger as you level up, and they give you some extra abilities. It's all based around like the strata of the earth. They're very tanky, they're very resilient, they're very powerful, but very simple. It's a pretty simple character class. Conflicts, now we're getting more complicated. Now we're mixing and matching different elements. We're combining, we're creating on the fly. Crafter, again, man, we're getting complicated because, again, we're creating, we're crafting on the fly. Now, my problem with crafting systems in other games is that crafting is usually takes you out of the game, right? You're spending months creating items or whatever. That's not roleplay. You're not doing anything. It's useless in the moment when you've got a goblin trying to eat your face. How do we fix that? So the way we do that is magical crafting. Crafters here, it's not just anybody can be a crafter. Nothing's stopping anyone from just grabbing a knife and a chunk of wood and whittling themselves up a little geek. But the crafters, the crafter calling within this game is magically induced. All right, a crafter, their gift, their innate magic allows them to perceive the world, perceives the material in it, perceive the natural magical energies and aspects of the world, and work with them. They see things not just what things are, but what they could be in the right, capable, talented hands. That is to say, of course, their own. A capable crafter knows their materials and tools like no one else and is able to create standard items, tools, and weapons of incredible quality with ease. But what sets them apart from simply being talented artists and workers is their ability to forge potent magical items and tools for their use and that of the expedition. A fledgling crafter begins their journey with the granting of their new noumena, which is the crafter's appraisal. Everything else that the crafter does is born off of their appraisal ability. This is their core noumena. It reinforces and reforges their magical understanding of the world around them and the items and materials in it. With a touch, a glance, or a few moments of examination, they can tell what any mundane material is and its physical properties such as weight, density, and quality. By concentrating or making an action roll, they can also perceive and understand the inherent magical resonance of an item or material. Crafters use this innate understanding to excellent effect during an expedition. Their understanding of the physical world's nature makes them second to none when trying to examine or puzzle out devices or mechanisms. Craft or create physical items out of the materials around them, perceive and understand the magical characteristics of an item or material, and any similar actions. They automatically gain resonance on any of these roles. They are good at what they do. That is a unifying theme within my game, and honestly, the way I like to run games in general, is that I like characters to be good at the thing they are supposed to be good at. I will never get over the fact that, say, for example, in Warhammer 40k, your pilot character starts with a piloting skill of like 30 or 40. That's out of 100, and that's the number you have to roll to succeed at a piloting roll. So your starting level pilot is going to crash your fucking giant ass space church ship 3 times out of 2, 2 times out of 3. How does anything get done in that universe? So no, I don't want to play a pilot who crashes 2 out of 3 planes. If I'm, if I don't want a crafter who doesn't know how to craft. This is what you're good at. You are magically delicious. Wholly enjoy character competence, can confirm. Yes, exactly. I don't like starting inept characters. Exactly. Some games, and to be honest, some gamers, Billy, you're out there. I don't know. We will never, I love you. We will never agree on this. Your love of playing underpowered characters, I will never understand, my friend. But anyway, so crafters are good at what they do. You gain resonance on any of these rolls for these stuff that makes sense for a crafter to have resonance for. This affects stacks with their aspects, tools, and many other applicable effects. If the crafter already has resonance on the roll from another source, then this effect converts to a +3 dice to the action pool for that roll. In a way, this simple ability is the one thing that sets a crafter apart. Everything else, they'll be the first to tell you that it's all skill. And that skill is called the Forge. So now this is what we're working on today. After I've been yelling for an hour and a half, we'll get back to what I'm actually working on, which is adding abilities to the Forge. So let's kind of get through it. Let's see. Having a quirk in which you have an option to be underpowered in a specific scenario can be fun. Outside of that, where it's your role in the party, no, that should feel good most of the time. No, again, look. I'm not opposed to, say, like the concept of like flaws and stuff. My character doesn't need to be a perfect god, right? Like there are, like this game has it, discords, like there are things that your character will be bad at. But your character should be good at the thing they are good at, right? At least that. As a crafter, you might be good at hand-to-hand fighting, or you might not be. I don't know. That's not a core thing of the crafter. That's up to you and your character design. But as a crafter, there's one thing that qualifies you to call yourself a crafter, and that is this. Your appraisal. You're really good at this. This is your magical thing. This is your shtick. This is the thing that sets you apart, and this is the reason why you're a crafter, because this is what you're good at, right? And if so, if there was, I haven't made any. I think the closest might be conflicts could be like a direct combat specialist. Bulwarks can also be combat specialists, but they're mostly defensive. Crafters are definitely not like direct combat specialists. So I don't really have like a full-on super fighty type other than the Bulwark. Like Bulwarks can still fuck people up if they need to. But you could write your story to give yourself all sorts of aptitudes that make you good in a fight as a crafter if you want to have them, but it's not a defining characteristic. This is a defining characteristic. If you have a crafter that's not good at this stuff, then you don't have a crafter, right? So, the Forge, these are the skills. Though some of the more practical-minded crafters out there may deny it, they are as much artists as they are craftspeople, and a crafter's work can be as individualized and specialized as any other artist's. Some may pour all their effort and interest into potion making, styling themselves as wandering alchemists. Others are itinerant blacksmiths, forging weapons both powerful in ability and fanciful in design. Some even cobble together delicate mechanisms and machines out of the most unlikely items. But regardless of whether they work with stone, metal, wood, or thread, they all refer to the unique magical craft that their noumena allows them to do as the Forge, or forging. The Forge has a series of skills called strikes. Each strike opens new possibilities for the crafter's art and sharpens their skills further. A journeyman crafter setting off on their first expedition has learned the first 2 strikes. The rest can be learned through advancement. Note that some strikes require others to be learned first before they can be mastered. So what are these strikes? What are these first 2 strikes that you start out with as a starting crafter? Well, the first one is ore. So if you're crafting, you need materials to craft with, right? So that's one of my complaints for a crafter is, how do I get those materials? Do I need to take things apart? Do I need to have a scene to hunt for them? So with this game, what I'm trying to do is just make it all flow. Make it so that you're constantly using your crafting in a day-to-day constant manner. And the first way to do that is with the ore strike. And we'll get fully into the ore strike right after these messages. Sup, nerds? We're back. All right, give me a second. I need to do something real quick. Oh, no. Never mind. Spotify is here. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So. Ores. What happens with the ores? What's this about? What manner of bullshit is this that I have presented you with? Well. The forge something new. First, you must have the right materials. Forging a magical wand that can calm the dreams of anyone who uses it doesn't require just silver and gemstones, but silver that properly resonates with the energies of Mente, and crystals that hum to Neoma's subtle songs. Learning to identify, separate, and purify such materials and essences while on an expedition is the very first skill a crafter must learn. What is the system for this skill? Well, once per scene, a crafter can identify and acquire some of the base magical materials and essences they need for their work. This process is nearly subconscious for them. Their natural curiosity and connection to the world around them means that their fingers often pick up random bits and bobs everywhere they go. Unless a crafter is specifically seeking a particular type of material, the system for this is simple. Roll a single d6 and consult the table below. On a 1 and 2, find a single Corpora Resonant Material, aka CRM. Find a single Mente Resonant Material, MRM, for a 3 to 4 or 5-6 Neoma Resonant Material, PRM. The player is free to describe the material they find or use the table below to generate one. I do not have the tables created yet. We will have those eventually because I like tables. I just haven't inserted them yet. But basically, it's kind of like a magpie ability. By default, if you just want, you don't care about the specific type of material that you get, then just every scene, just casually, as part of the scene, at some point, roll a d6 and tell me what you got, and you will get a material, a crafting material, based around one of these three. And it's going to be a random bit or bob, but it's going to be useful to you. It's going to resonate with the energy that you need for your actual crafting. If the player is looking for a specific type of material, they can make an action roll to search for the source of it in their vicinity and acquire it. So since it's an action roll, that means there is some risk to it, but because there's some risk to it, I also increase the reward. So the guy is encouraged to describe a specific challenge circumstance that must be overcome in order to harvest the desired material. Apply modifiers to the roll as usual and apply the results as shown below. If you fail in that roll, you lose any risk dice as normal. Roll a single d6 and consult the regular harvest result table. The crafter receives one material of that type. So even on a failure, you're still, you might lose any d6s if you risk them, but other than that, you still get your default. This happens no matter what. Even if you decide to go for something, you'll still get your one material per scene. But if you roll and you might succeed. And if you succeed, on a right, recover your risk dice as usual and gain 3 materials of the type that the crafter is looking for. On a discover, recover risk dice again and gain an extra dice for your pool as normal, and then gain 2 materials of the type the crafter is looking for, and then roll a d6 and consult the regular harvest result table, gain 1 material of the type indicated. So basically, if you fail, you still get your basics. If you succeed and write, you get exactly what you're looking for with nothing extra. And if you succeed and discover, you still get mostly what you're looking for, a little bit extra by adding that extra dice to your pool, and then a little bit of randomness, whatever the GM wants to throw at you extra as well. Which, again, you'll see is kind of the vibe for a lot of stuff in this game. So that's the first one. Your first strike is your ability to be constantly getting raw materials for your crafting. But all these raw materials in the world mean nothing if you don't actually make anything out of them. So, cobble is the second ability. What's the point? What's the point? What's the deal with all this airline food? What's the point in having all these rare materials if you're not going to make something with them, right? Cobble is the main skill of the Forge Arts, and it enables a crafter to use their resonant materials to create unique, one-time use magical items that can assist the seeker in innumerable ways. Cobbling an item together takes little more than a thought and an action for a simple item, as magic guides the crafter's fingers and tools to bring their materials together into something new and unique as easily as if they'd always meant to be together. Cobbled items can serve all manner of different uses, providing a one-time bonus to a specific roll before their magic is spent. So the system, basically, in a nutshell, it just means crafting a just random magical item will, and you say what it's for. You call an item, I'm getting tangled up. I have it written down. I'm just going to read what I've written down. To cobble an item, the crafter must state which specific type of action the item is meant to assist with. For example, a cobbled blade might be meant to assist in a combat roll, while a cobbled rope might be particularly good for use in scaling walls. Once the item's purpose is decided, the crafter must use 1 material each of their corpora, mente, and pneuma resonant types, so CRMs, MRMs, and PRMs. For each +1, the item is meant to grant its users on their action roll, up to a maximum of +3. So, a +1 spyglass for perceiving distant enemies would cost 3 materials, 1 each of corpora, mente, and pneuma. There we go. And a +3 shield of defense would require 9 total materials, 3 each of corpora, mente, and pneuma. These items grant their bonuses once, and then their magic is spent. For some items, especially if they were consumables, such as a potion or foodstuff, they might, misspelled, then be destroyed or fall apart, but others would simply lose their enchantment and no longer be useful as tools. So basically, with an action, and this is the main thing, because there is a longer system, and we're going to be working on it, for creating more complicated items, right? If your crafter wants to craft a wand of fireballs, or a seeing eye flying orb, or whatever, something that's more complicated, we're going to work on that system. But in the moment, in a fight, in a moment of action where you just need to be able to have a device that can help, that's where a crafter shines. That's I think the big thing that differentiates them from crafters in a lot of other games, where in that same situation, in a right now in the moment kind of situation, unless you as the crafter player had thought way ahead and had spent the time, effort, rolls, and materials, and whatever necessary long before the fucking game session even happened to have the right item on hand, then cool. But if you don't, the crafting systems in a lot of games are like, well, fuck it, it's going to take you 3 months to make a dagger, so go fuck yourself. In here, no, you're a crafter. Like, you're magically delicious. All right, you can cobble something up real quick. It's not going to last. It's going to be a one-time use, but it's going to give you a bonus on some action. You're going to be able to just come up with an item, describe it, whatever it is, and it's going to help you get this one thing done. It's going to fall apart later, but in the moment, one action right now, boom, done. I've got this. Look, click, clack, clack. Here we go. And that change alone, I think, makes crafters pretty flexible because they're able to basically buff both themselves and others with a single action on almost any circumstance, so long as they're there, which is pretty nice to have. And also, they are physical items, so you can create them and have them ready. Like they'll get expended after a use, but otherwise you can kind of just have them ready to go. So a crafter with enough materials might go, hey, before we go into this room, give me a second, let me make everybody some shields. And like if you have enough materials, you can make like +2 shields of fire resistance for everybody in just a couple actions, stuff like that. Makes them pretty flexible and pretty useful in the middle of an adventure. Which is something that I think is lacking from a lot of other crafting types in other games. Once you have your materials, make an action roll. On a failure, risk dice are less than normal. The item is created and materials used as per normal, but roll once on the major side effect table and apply it to the item as well. So these tables don't exist yet. The major and minor side effect tables don't exist yet, but we're going to need to write them at some point because there are going to be. So this is how like. Even if you fail in these rolls, I'm a big fan of like fail forward. So even in a failed cobble roll, you're still going to get the item. It's just going to have a major side effect, right? It's broken in some way. On our right, you recover your risk dice as normal. The item is created, no side effects. Materials are consumed as normal. Or discover, recover your risk dice, gain an extra dice. Item is created, and then you roll once on the minor side effect table and apply it to the item. Again, we haven't written those tables yet, but it's going to be minors are going to be very minor. So it's mostly like they're mostly going to be cosmetic things. Major are going to have actual game effects. There's going to be penalties or bad stuff might happen while the item is used, that sort of thing. While minor side effects are just color stuff. Oh, there's a colorful little purple cloud that happens, stuff like that. It's the idea there. Cobbling an item takes a single action. Sorry, let's hydrate here. And can be done in combat, but will take the entirety of that crafter's action for that volley. The term volley, let's kind of ignore it for the moment. I need to look at combat again at some point, because my original idea for combat was that it was going to be just, rather than round after round, I wanted to make combat be a series of 3 volleys, and basically it's always best 2 out of 3. And so whoever wins 2 out of the 3 volleys wins that conflict, wins that combat. I may or may not stick with that. We'll see. Because I don't want combat to become a big slog. But at the same time, making it always a volley system means that every combat has to go to like 3 scenes, basically 3 actions, 3 rounds, effectively. And sometimes you just want something to be resolved in a single roll, right? I got to revisit combat. But in the meantime, we'll leave it there for now. Outside of combat, assume it takes a crafter no more than a minute to put together a usable item. At this stage in a crafter's journey, cobbled items can assist with almost any kind of action, but cannot have specific magical effects of their own, aside from any side effects that may have popped up during their crafting. As they learn further strikes, however, their items will become more durable, useful, and capable. So, cool. So that's your most basic stuff. Level 1, the starting level, you just created this character. This is what you can do. You can gain materials as you go, and you can cobble together useful items in a pinch on a whim. Those are your main things, and you can use those to help both yourself and others as needed. Now, as you advance, what are the additional strikes you can learn? So you got Harden. Hardened, cobbled items are useful but fragile. Their magic fades after a single use, often either destroying the item in the process or leaving it useless until a crafter has the time and materials to repair it. With practice, a little elbow grease, and of course a bunch of extra materials, the crafter can increase the number of uses they can get out of the cobbled items before it becomes useless. At this level, they can't make an item permanent, but they can increase its durability substantially. So, it's not necessary, it's misspelled. So it's not a roll thing. It's just basically you on this acquiring this ability, this advancement unlocks the ability for you to spend more materials during a cobble roll, And if you spend extra corpora materials, then it makes the item more durable, which basically a simple +1 hammer normally costs 1 each of corpora, mente, and pneuma materials for a single use. By doubling the corpora cost, the character can use harden to grant the hammer a second use at a total of 2 corpora, 1 mente, and 1 pneuma. Meanwhile, a powerful +3 longsword is given 3 swings before its magic runs out by tripling its corpora cost, which goes from 3 corpora, 3 mente, and 3 pneuma to 9 corpora, 3 mente, 3 pneuma to cobble together. So it's a way to make it like, if you need to do something like a +3 longsword, and you want to make it last longer, you have extra corpora, this is a way to do it. You can make your items, give them effectively extra charges up to a maximum of 3 charges. After that, you're going to want to look at something like in the advanced forging, which we created perpetuity here for. So that's harden. Dismantle is the reverse, so sometimes an item just doesn't work out. Maybe you created it as a contingency and then that contingency never came up, or you found a cobbled or otherwise magical item that you don't really need, or perhaps you simply need a specific type of material. Is that 2 spaces? Yeah, it is. And ripping it out of the nearest contraption is the easiest way to get it. In any case, a trained crafter knows that the next best thing to putting something together is to take it apart. By using dismantle on a cobbled or otherwise magical item, a crafter can recover a certain amount of materials and essences from the item, destroying or otherwise rendering the original item useless in the process. So basically, this is just a way to get materials back. But, and this is something that we haven't quite touched, and it's going to be touched in advanced forging, that's where things are going to get complicated, and why I haven't written it yet, and why I've already spent the first 2 hours of the stream avoiding getting to it. Is that as you're dismantling an item, you might be able to receive advanced materials, and those advanced materials, those are used for specific magical effects. So that's part of why like dismantle exists as a skill and as a system, because it's going to be a way for your character to gain these advanced items. Part of an adventure and plot for a crafter is to search for old items that they can dismantle and recover and get special advanced materials from that they can then use to forge more powerful, more permanent, or more versatile items, magical abilities, etc., etc., etc. So basically, when you're dismantling, you'll do the whole thing. There is one extra modifier. The item itself, the more powerful the item is, the more difficult it is to dismantle. So for each +1 or specific magical effect that the item being dismantled has, you're going to get a -1 to your roll. As more complex or more challenging to dismantle. Apply the results of the roll as shown below. So if you fail, lose risk dice, the item is destroyed and the crafter gains 1 each of corpora, mente, and pneuma materials, and then roll once on the minor side effect table and apply the result to the crafter immediately. And advanced materials, receive all advanced materials within the item, but each material received will have a major side effect applied to it that will be need to purify it, or else it will affect the item that it is used on. So that's going to be one of the complications for advanced crafting. You might have materials that are corrupted or discordant materials. And so those advanced materials might have a major side effect applied to them. And you have a choice. You can either create the item with that material and just the side effect comes with, or you can purify that first. You have to take an extra step to purify the material before it can be used to craft the final item. And we do have the purify mechanics below, so you'll see that. But just to kind of give you a slight heads up on why some of these terms are being used and not being defined yet, is because they haven't been written yet. They are going to be defined as we go through this. Except let's not. There we go. So on the right, lose risk dice, item is destroyed, character gains 1 each of the materials per +1 or specific magical effect the item had. Gain 3 regular materials of whichever essence type the character prefers. If it's advanced materials, receive all advanced materials in the item with no side effects. And recover your risk dice, gain the extra dice, blah 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 blah, roll d6, got this, and advanced materials, remove all advanced materials in the item, but 1 will have a minor side effect randomly applied. These must be purified or else will affect the item they are cobbled into. Some specific or more powerful items may provide additional materials or specific advanced materials at the guide's discretion. Usually such items will be easily identified by a crafter, and there may be additional modifiers or rolls to dismantle them. In very rare cases, some powerful relics may not be susceptible to this skill. The crafter may have to get especially creative to take such legendary treasures apart. Pretty standard. Why would I not always choose to purify? Well, good, excellent question, Phoenix. Excellent question. Here's why. It's expensive. Purification is expensive. Side effects are just a fact of life for most of a crafter's career. In fact, if you don't have the purification ability, you're not going to be able to purify. So first, you're going to have to buy this as an advance at some point. So until then, you'll probably have some items with side effects that you've just been having to live with and deal with. The side effects, again, are not going to be game-breaking, but they might be annoying. And you've just had to live with them as a crafter until now, until you get this purification power, which is cool, but it's expensive. So, purification can be used on cobbled or otherwise crafted magical items, materials, and objects to remove any side effects. Blah, blah, blah. This is not without risk to the crafter. More powerful side effects can be difficult to cleanse, and a mistake could cause the effect to spread to the crafter themselves or their other items. There is also a cost in materials. Cleansing a minor side effect or discord requires the use of 3 Neoma resonant materials. Purifying a major side effect or discord is even more costly, requiring 9 Neoma resonant materials to perform. Whether the purification succeeds or fails, the materials are used and spent in the attempts. That's the first reason why you might not always purify. You might not have enough materials at the time, or you might be saving those materials for another item that you're crafting. But if you do choose to purify, you have the materials, then again, there still is a risk. If you roll and you fail, you lose your risk dice as normal, the side effect is not cleansed and spreads to one of your other cobbled items or materials. Choose an item or material the crafter is carrying at random. If the crafter is not carrying any other materials or items, then you apply the effects of the following roll directly to them. Roll a d6 and see below for results. On a 1 to 2, the affected item gains 1 random major side effect. 3 to 4, affected item gains 1 random minor side effect. And a 5 to 6, the affected item receives a copy of the same side effect as the source material. But if you succeed on the roll, then on a right, recover your risk dice, all used materials are consumed, and the side effect is cleansed entirely from the item. Or on a discover, recover your dice as usual, gain an additional dice to your pool, all used materials are consumed, the side effect is cleansed entirely from the item. Then you choose one material or item that the crafter is carrying at random and apply a minor side effect to it that will automatically resolve at the end of the scene. So on a discover, basically, you still cleanse it, but there's just a little bit of remaining discordance that will go away at the end of the scene. And that's it. That's the general idea behind purification. Pretty straightforward. And at that point, that's it. Those are all the basic things for forging. You grab materials, you make them into an item. You can make the item slightly more durable. You can take items apart, and you learn how to purify corrupted, discordant items and materials. Cool. What happens when you want to create an outright magical item or make something you've cobbled together a bit more permanent? For that, we need to study the more advanced arts of the forge. In order to learn advanced forge strikes, the crafter must have mastered all of the regular strikes listed above. So you need to know all of this before you can start doing advanced forging, because each represents a basic skill that the crafter must build upon before they can achieve the pinnacle of their art. So the first advanced forging, and the only one that we've written officially, is perpetuity. So perpetuity, the strike of perpetuity, allows a crafter to make their creations permanent. The more powerful or complex the item, the more costly the procedure, but if successfully completed, the item's power becomes permanent. Consumable items such as potions, spells, or salves still have a maximum of 3 daily uses, but they refill automatically at the start of each day. This way, if you made your crafter an alchemist or a potion maker or something like that, instead of crafting items, you've been crafting like pills and potions and whatnot, you can still use perpetuity. You can still create permanent stuff. It's just that's how it applies to a potion. It's three servings a day, and then you kind of refill it. So how do we do this? The system. Main requirement for applying perpetuity to an item is materials. This is one of the most expensive tasks a crafter can undertake, although the cost calculation is fairly simple. 9 each of corpora, mente, and pneuma resonant materials per level of the base item. So for example, a cobbled dagger with a +1 effect would cost 27 total materials to be made permanent, 9 each of all 3 types. Meanwhile, a potion that grants +3 benefit to movement and speed rolls would cost 27 of each material type to be made permanent. While these costs are very high, the benefit of having a permanent, inexhaustible magic item often outweigh those costs. Luckily, you do not have to invest all of these materials at once. A crafter can use up materials as they go. They only need to roll once they have enough materials ready. And once a crafter has enough materials, no roll is needed. So I just realized I'm totally contradicting myself. They simply need to have learned the secrets and skills of the Strike of Perpetuity, and they can apply the essences in these materials to apply permanence to the item. So I'll change this because I still don't want to roll for this. The item will no, actually, as they go, but the item will only gain the benefits of perpetuity once all materials have been added to it. There we go. Because I'm not going to make you, you're already spending a ridiculous fucking amount of materials, right? To make an item permanent. I'm not going to, on top of that, make you roll and potentially fail and lose all those, because that's how you get players flipping your goddamn table and walking around and walking away from you and never wanting to play in your game again. So no, like, I'm already costing you a shit ton of materials to make an item permanent, but also permanent items are you've seen you do that, so you're welcome, Struggle Bus. You're welcome. So that's perpetuity. That's how you make a permanent magical item. You spend money. You just spend materials. You just get a lot of materials, a lot of power, and you pour it in, and that makes the item permanent. Cool. Now we've got the 2 others, Alloy and Reforge. So the idea behind these 2 powers, and let's see, where's my ad counter? All right, we're good for a couple more minutes. We'll actually hit ads before we actually start writing anything new, because that's how that works. Let me see. Let me catch up on chat real quick. I always lean towards permanent items, even if there are less or they are weaker. Yeah, no, I mean, permanent items is your final goal, right? But that's why regular items are relatively cheap, right? You can create, like, just creating a +3 shield defense requires 9 total materials. Like, that sounds like a lot when you're starting out, right? But then you see the cost of the materials later, and you're like, oh no, this is a goddamn bargain. Like, a smart crafter, somebody who is not just taking the free materials, but is actually taking the time to harvest as they go, make these rolls. If they find weird items out there, they're dismantling and grabbing raw materials and stuff, because it's like, you don't need that. I want to go with, and I think this, I may be biting off more than I can chew here, but I do kind of want to have, and I want to take some examples from Numenera on this. I haven't taken a super close look at Numenera's crafting system. I know there are similarities and there are differences, but I want to take a look at it, see if I can get some inspiration at some point, because it's got some things in it that I think I might be able to steal and adapt. And point is, like, again, I think, like, the fact that you can make a quick +3 item that makes a difference, and it's not that expensive, and you can just kind of whip them out at the moment, kind of makes up for the fact that they're not permanent by default. Making a permanent item with perpetuity actually is an investment. As a crafter, you're just whipping things up as you go normally. The investment, this is where this is the closest that you get, and and these advanced ones are all going to be the closest that you get to the more traditional crafting, which is like, oh, time consuming and all that. But even then, I'm not setting. You'll notice that I'm not setting time frames here, right? I'm not saying, oh, and then you have to spend a week doing this. I really don't like when games say like, oh, and then the character has to go away and be by themselves, or just be 100% focused on X thing for an entire day or an entire week or an entire month or whatever. Like, I don't want to have abilities and mechanisms in the game that are going to take a character out of the action. So instead, that extra investment of time and effort, instead of being off camera, you're going to be playing that out, right? If you want to make an item that's going to be permanent, you know how much it's going to cost you. The math is fairly simple, if imposing with the results, but you know what you want. So now, if you really want that permanent +3 fire blade of dragon smiting, then you as a crafter are now going to be actively like gathering materials as part of the adventure, as part of the gameplay, as part of the travel, as part of what you're doing, as opposed to just having it off camera or having to have a separate scene, etc., etc. It's like, no, you're going to be doing this naturally as you adventure. Hopefully, is what I'm trying to lead towards. And then once you have everything, then boom, then it happens. You make it happen. It's not like, okay, then you go and it's like a 3-week ritual and whatnot, right? And I want to kind of follow that same general vibe with Alloy and Reforge. So I think Alloy is going to be, make something new, and Reforge is going to be make something into something else, right? Those I think are going to be the two main things. So Alloy is going to be make something new, and specifically, this is where you're going to get your Wand of Fireball. This is now where we're going. We're going to spend some time in Alloy. And then Reforge, we'll see. Reforge might not even be necessary. We'll see. But Alloy is where we're going to spend, I think, the rest of this stream at the very least, as we figure out how we're going to do this. And now we're finally going to talk about those advanced materials and the requirements and whatnot. And I'm going to need some feedback from you folks. So let's see how that goes. So we'll see all that once again once we return from ads. All right, we're back. Anyway, let's see. Alloy. We're gonna do some writing. Grapes. You're gonna see how bad I am at typing. How am I this bad at typing considering I've been typing my entire goddamn life? All right, so alloy. What are the basic things we need with alloy? You're gonna see some bullshit happen now. So we need materials, right? Materials. No, materials. We need the actual So we need the base materials, right? So we need the base materials. Some compiles that you start typing a command and autofill the rest of maybe yours, your years of using those. No. I look. I don't do a lot of coding. I do a lot of writing. And yeah, I do a lot of bullshitting, but I don't do a lot of coding. So I actually don't have a lot of experience with like code editors that do autocomplete and whatnot. I just don't. I'm just bad at it. I'm just bad at typing. But yeah, so we got base materials, we got advanced materials. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Look, I gave you an out. Okay, no. I'm not taking it. I'm taking my lumps. Base materials, advanced materials, an action roll, jelly roll. No. I mean, that's basically it. And base materials, we know what they are, right? Base materials, Jesus Christ. Base materials are your PRMs, CRMs, and MRMs, right? So those are the base things that you need. Then there's your advanced materials, and then there's going to be your action roll. So these two parts, standard, and these two parts, we've seen all this before, right? You're going to need some bucket loads of standard materials, and then you're going to make a roll to create the item. It's going to be pretty standard. We're going to roll results, and it's basically going to be something along the line of fail, item is created, but has major side effect, right? Right item is created exactly as desired, and discover item is created but has minor side effect. Basically, that's how these rolls are going to turn out. So the complicated part is here, these advanced materials. What does this mean? Because we are creating generally useful items, right? Up until now, we have been creating generally useful items, which may have some magical elements, may have some special elements, sure, but otherwise, it's a really fancy, weird hammer. It's a really fancy rope ladder. It's an odd sword. It's basic stuff like that, and it does the thing that you expect the thing to do. A hammer hammers, a sword cuts, a rope, the ropes, right? But at this point now, we're creating magic items. At this point, we're creating wands that can throw fireballs, mirrors that can see across oceans, etc., right? One of the things with this game is that every person has a gift. Everybody has a different type of magic. So, first thing that we would need to do, the materials are also going to be separated by familia, right? So that means that a material, AMs, advanced materials, can be corpora, mente, or pneuma resonant. Ooh, I like this. Let's introduce this little bit of complexity and see how it treats us. And let's add in that unlike regular base materials, AMs can also have multiple resonances. These kinds of materials can be used. No, are here we go. Kinds of materials are highly sought after for the complexity, Jesus Christ, of magical effects they can enable. Cool, cool, cool. No problem. Now, step one. Step one of determining which AMs you need for your item is going to be the base requirement. The base requirement. Hey, Afreitas, welcome in, friend. Thank you for the cursing. This is correct. I am cursed. And in fact, I'm gonna give myself a full on proper cursing, just because. Hey, there we go. Wait. What? Okay, I'm gonna try that again. Why did it double? There we go. That's when it's supposed to play. Weird. Anyway, welcome in, friend. Welcome in, friend. All right, so the base requirement for any alloyed item, we're going to call them alloyed items, is one is like for a regular cobbled item, one each of persona, Jesus Christ, corpora, mente, and pneuma, resonant, carajo. AM, it's advanced materials. So first thing you're gonna need is your just like with a cobbled item, you're gonna need one each, but these are AMs, advanced materials that you need, and that's your base thing that requires all three, right? Because you're creating a magical item. Magical items always require all three. No magical item is going to require only one type of material. So that's the first thing. After that, the type of AM required is going to depend on the effect that you want your alloyed item to have. And so, for example, work with your guy to determine what familia the effect you're trying to achieve. Work with your guy to determine the familia the effect you're trying to achieve falls under. Let's do a quick example. For example, an effect that launches a fiery projectile. Fiery projectile. I cast fiery projectile at a target would likely be, god damn it, corpora resonant, while a hat that lets you read the thoughts of those around you would require mente resonant AMs. So quick example of what I mean when I say that, right? Like, you need materials of the type of resonance that resonate with the type of magical effect that you want to do. Cool. Simple enough. Do we want to add more to it? Do we want to do we want to Okay, here's my thought. Hear me out. Hear me out, chat. If what if in addition to the advanced materials required, so maybe creating an alloyed item maybe doesn't require base materials, right? So the advanced materials take up the place of the base materials in terms of crafting alloyed items. No, because that's going to be too much. In the sense, because I'm thinking like alloyed items by default are just the advanced version of cobbled items and have the same restrictions, which means an alloyed item by default will break after one use or will run out of charges without being without perpetuity being applied to it. But I'm not going to, if I were to require the perpetuity costs, but require them in AMs, in advanced materials, I'd be a dick. I'd kind of be a dick. You're never going to have enough advanced materials to fucking spend 27 times 3 of them. So what is that? 60, 77? 70... Oh, sorry. 71. 71, right? 51. 51? Feels like it's more. I think it's 71. Because 7 times 3 is 21. And, no, so 81, actually. 81. Or, I don't know, man. Math. I should be better at math. I'm trying to make a role-playing game. Anyway, point is, I'm not going to ask you to get that many AMs, advanced materials. Because the only way you get advanced materials, as of right now, right, unless you hand them out as a GM, you can have like a cache of something. Like I think I'm going to add that in the guide section at some point. Like, you know, this might be a cool reward for a crafter, is a cache of materials, including a handful of AMs. You know, that might inspire the crafter to do cool things. But I'm not going to require you to have that many. Yeah, 81 is the number, right? So you're right. You're right. You know, like, no, you'll still apply, you'll still purify and apply property and everything with your base materials. So base materials are used to apply effects such as perpetuity to an alloyed item, but the core crafting of one revolves around advanced materials. Right, and then delete these. Boop. And then there we go. Okay, so, and then let's see. Unlike regular race materials, kill some of the worseness, after that type of AM is doing the family effect you want your alloyed item to have. Cool. So this is good. This is good. I like this. I think we're in the right direction, right? Again, I will take criticism if anything seems initially not viable, or if I'm heading in the wrong direction. But I kind of like what we got going here. As with regular materials, the intensity of the final effect determines how many of the appropriate AMs you will need. The crafter will need for the item. And then that will mean, that'll be like this. So like, just like with cobbling, yeah, here we go. So basically, I'm kind of just gonna grab this. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, okay, wait. So, so the cost for alloying, base cost is one each, right? Just like a regular one. Ah, okay. I see what I'm doing here. So this is slightly different, right? Because for base items, it's three of each, right? And then for each bonus, you add another three of each. But that's because they're generic bonuses. Here, we're talking about specific magical effects. So I think, and again, advanced materials are rarer. We're not going to require as many as we might. Sorry, as we might with regular materials, right? We're gonna keep it down a little. So one each of the advanced materials gets you a base alloyed item. Cool. But at this point, it has no special magical abilities. It's just an empty vessel with the capacity for advanced magical effects in it. Then you need to add additional materials rather, based on the effect you're going to have, the familia that it's in. Advanced crafting with advanced materials that have multiple effects will let you do spells that can cover multiple, or effects that can cover multiple Power Rangers. I'll need some examples for that. I got that, no worries. But the thing that I'm kind of hovering around, the thought that I'm not sure where to go with yet, is do we want to require some kind of unique material for these items? Or or is there going to be a third sort of relic category? Then those will require specific extra rare materials that are not just advanced with AMs, right? Because AMs can still be found and harvested sort of as part of gameplay, right? It's less than with the regular materials. We're just doing a roll, or literally just walking into a room, walking out, and you walk out with a material in your pocket, right? With advanced materials, you have to look for them. You have to either be looking specifically for them, or you have to find them by dismantling, primarily by dismantling found items. So a crafter will be looking for loot as they go to, it's going to be a more active level of harvesting. But it's still just harvesting. It can just, I don't need to give you a specific scene or quest, or do a whole separate side scene with the crafter so they can get their AMs, right? Like a crafter can be gathering their materials as part of day-to-day gameplay. Any item that comes in that is no longer needed, they'll take it, they'll dismantle it, they'll make a couple of rolls, and they'll keep adding to their item stockpile, and the adventure continues until they have enough to do the thing they want. And if that's enough for a basic alloyed item, your simple wand of fireballs, your bag of holding type of things, right? Like that sort of. I'm using a lot of D&D flavored terms and items because they're touchstone, right? They're a common magic item touchstone. If I start referencing like Numenera items, those are not as immediately familiar to people. So I'll go with some of the classic like D&D stuff, right? So again, your bag of holding, your weapon with a specific bonus against specific types of enemies, a shield that protects against specific types of magic. Again, the mirror that can see in distances, stuff like that. That it's like kind of a traditional quote unquote magic item, or a basic sort of magic item effect, I think that's enough. I'm not going to ask you to, for your wand of fireballs, it must also require, the heart of a fire drake dipped in the blood of a phoenix, blah blah blah. No, it's about the resonance. You have materials that resonate with enough of the magic that would make that effect possible. Cool. Guess what? You're a crafter. You're really good at this. Once you have enough of the right type of energy and with the right knowledge, training, and skill, you can alloy together something pretty cool. And so, with that, if we're going to do that, folks, if that's the approach I'm going to... What the hell? If that's the approach I'm going to take here, which I think I am... then I think for Reforge is going to let you create relics. I think relics are going to be the ones that like a relic, because relics, which we've very lightly touched on before during the explanation of the system, I do mention that which I hadn't created yet or existed yet, but I do mention them because I wanted to create them, and here's where we're going to create them. Relics are particularly powerful magical items, right? Magical items in and of themselves, like a base magical item, a cobbled magical item, gives you a plus 1, 2, or 3 bonus to a specific type of action, depending on the nature of the magical item. An alloyed magical item can replicate the kinds of powers that another adventurer might have, right? So those kinds of abilities and powers, day-to-day stuff like that, day-to-day magical item stuff, those are alloyed items. Relics might have unique powers and effects. These are campaign level items, but also relics have the specific ability that they grant resonance just by holding them on certain aspects. So this is a relic. The difference between let's take swords. You've got your basic cobbled sword, which is going to break. Is basically, think of it like, a cobbled together, something sharp with something wrapped around the hilt so you can hold it, and it's got some glimmering bits to it, and something is beeping, and it's going to fall apart in your hands any minute now. But while it lasts, holy shit, you don't want to get hit with that thing. Let's say that's a +2 cobbled weapon. Cool. That's that. Next, you've got an alloyed sword, and now this alloyed permanent sword does the same +2 damage, but also when you are wielding it, you gain. Let's say you gain the ability to give a +2 aptitude to the rolls of the rest of your party as you begin to glow and emit waves of motivation and inspiration through this magical blade. Cool. That's a cool effect, and that's a cool effect that makes sense for an alloyed weapon. It still has a +2 to your rolls, and it has an effect, an additional magical effect that comes through. And then that same blade, as a relic now. Now we're looking at Excalibur. Now we're looking at a blade out of Legend. Now we're looking at something that A is permanent, just like everything else. B is extra powerful, so it has this bonus, and because it has a specific, a stronger magical aura and a purpose to it, then actions related to the relic's purpose will be rolled with resonance by the person holding the relic. And in addition to that, it'll have some level of specific magical effect or effects as needed. These are going to be the epitome of the crafter's art. These are the things as like, once the crafter is able to create a relic they're amazing. So the cost for relics is, I'm not going to make the cost extra high specifically. I am going to make it so relics, the materials for relics are alloyed items. Tell me if that's too far. But I think whereas so cobbled items require harvested materials, while alloyed items require advanced materials, and then reforged relics are going to require, and that's why it's called reforge, because you have to take, it requires alloyed items to be basically cannibalized into a relic. And that's going to be the cost. The cost is going to be measured in alloyed items for crafting relics. It's still very expensive because creating alloyed items is expensive. Making them permanent is perpetuity is expensive. You're still investing a shit ton. And again, that's why the guide is going to have the option of giving out materials, caches as rewards for stuff. But also by the point you're creating relics, you're hopefully you've got access to a lot more stuff as well. But I think that's pretty good. I mean, tell me again, chat. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you think that's I'm going too far on the approach, or if it sounds interesting. And just to give you a heads up, we're about to go to ads. I'm looking at the timer right now, but it'll be the last ad break of today's stream because it's already 4:30. So when we get back, I want to walk through a couple of examples of what that looks like. But I'm curious what everybody's sort of initial first impression is to the concept. So with that in mind. All right, we are back from the last and final segment of today's stream. As always, folks, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me yell at you over the internets for just hours at a time about the nerdiest goddamn shit. And yet here I am, here you all are, and I got no feedback. I got no feedback on chat, so I'm going to assume you're all just stunned by the brilliance of my game design. And you're just left breathless and wordless by how fucking amazing an idea it is that creating relics uses alloyed items as its source material, as its raw materials, right? So So before we get to relics, though, creating relics requires alloyed items as its source materials. You've been bus hopping. Not fair. That's fine. You know, public transportation. We're big fans of public transportation here on the stream. But you do like the idea of the building pyramid to artifacts. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, everything builds upon itself, right? So yeah, that's kind of the idea. It is going to be a little bit complicated because we still need to finish alloyed items, right? So, you know, we're getting to this. There's this part about the intensity of the final effect, determining how many of the appropriate AMs the crafter will need for the item. We have to work on this. And then that's going to complicate the relics. Because, okay, so how do we... Because, you know, items, materials are clearly defined as corpora mentis pneuma. AM specifically might have multiples. But the items themselves are not necessarily... I guess they are. So basically, we'll need to, you know, we'll still need to keep the resonances and you know, how they're attuned to the various familiars in mind. But we're going to have to then keep track of the primary attunements that alloyed items have. So it'll have to be like a corpora attuned alloyed item, a mente attuned alloyed item, and a pneuma attuned alloyed item as the sort of base materials, one of each. But what complicates this is that alloyed items bring sort of unique powers along with them. So are we going to... That's something that we're going to have to consider with reforging, with creating relics, and that might end up in a separate stream, just because of the way time works. I'm gonna run out of time very shortly in today's stream, and I have to fold clothes. I have so many clothes to fold. Anyway, exactly. So the whole point here, the thing is that, and I think I see what's happening. I am realizing now, triggering that doesn't automatically make the sound go away again. I think I can fix that actually. Sorry folks. I have the what we know as the ADHDs. Here we go. Yeah, it was setting the curse UL MP3 to visible at the end of the batch actions. Let me just go ahead and modify that one. No, stay should be hidden. There we go. Okay, now when you guys trigger that, it doesn't break my manual ability to go and have the sound actually trigger properly. So cool. Hey, I fixed it. Thanks for that, Afreitas. Really appreciate it. Oh my god, I've got, folks, bear with me. I've got a call coming in that I've got to take. Hey, sorry about that, folks. Back. Non-zero chance that there will be another interruption before the stream is over. I, it's not worth getting into. Anyway, it's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. I'm fine. I'm fine. Just anyway. So let's see here. Where did we go? Where did we leave off? We're almost done anyway. The stream is ending in like less than 20 minutes. So, you know, folks, just bear with me. Bear with me. Worst case scenario, I just want to prepare you all. There is a non-zero chance that I may just have to end the stream a few minutes early to just deal with an annoying thing. Nothing serious. Again, it's what it is. Let me just leave it at the fact that, again, starting around mid-December, a lot less of that. I'm gonna be here all the fucking time. I don't know if that's something to look forward to or not. Anyway, folks, let's see here. Where are we? So all this in mind, what we need to know, what we need to figure out is what's going to happen to the powers and the abilities from coming soon. Well, yes, yeah, exactly. Coming soon. Me forever. I'm just sleeping streams. Hey. A couple of years ago, I kind of half seriously, not even half seriously, quarter seriously at best, tried to give streaming a try. I was doing more of a video game thing, honestly. I think I was probably more successful at that with this, but fuck it. But point is, I tried to do that for a little bit, but also I was just doing some casual, just chatting streams and stuff like that. And one day when I actually had the apartment to myself, it's kind of what I'm talking about, having the apartment to myself. I actually just since I've got all these cameras, right? I've got this whole situation where I can make the come on, this button thing. I make mistakes. I've made mistakes. There we go. This whole situation where I've got these buttons and I can make, like, you know, I've got this camera here. You are getting the worst possible angle. This is not. What is happening? Is it frozen? I think it's frozen. Great. Well, after I'm talking about how I have all these things. Yeah, it's frozen. Great. I'm not gonna leave you that. You can see my. Jesus Christ, my floor is filthy. Also, I need to fix that thing down there. Anyway, point is, I have all these extra cameras. So one thing I did one of those days was I set up a couple. I set up the little overhead camera, and I set up a little face camera, and I set up a third just overview camera, all in my kitchen. And I did a little just kind of cooking stream. I prepared dinner. I chopped veggies. I prepped dinner while chatting with people on the chat and just kind of vibing and hanging out. And honestly, that was a good time. And I might do more of them. Why not? I don't care. It's casi yo cocino. Mira, acho. I cook like a motherfucker. I cook very well. Arroz, habichuela, bistec. Dude, afreites, los crispy burgers, the death burgers, holy shit. I mean, I'm not gonna say that, I'm not gonna put those as a shining example of my culinary skills. I'm much better since then. But folks, years ago, this was a long time ago, there were these burgers, homemade, delicious, very good. But instead of bread, we basically sliced Krispy Kreme donuts in half and then put the burger, cheese, all that stuff. But I cook very well, my friends. I cook very well. So yeah, you know, maybe again, mid-December, expect some cooking streams. Also, you know what I might do at some point? Fucking workout streams. Okay? Look, you know what? We're done with game design. Honestly, since there's a non-zero chance of interruption, we're done with game design. Actually, wait, I just got a message. Let me see. Okay, so no chance of interruptions. Good. I just got a confirmation. Cool. There we go. Okay, so no more interruptions. Good. But also, you know, this was not bad. This was coquito. That's actually not the worst idea. It's coquito time. It is coquito time. I should make coquito. I should fucking sell it. Is what I should do. That's how I'm gonna make it. That's gonna pay rent this month. Anyway, yeah. But honestly, like, yeah, derailer will derail. Tell me about it. But that's a stream. That's a stream. Christmas stream. I can make coquito. We can go through the process. Live coquito maker. You know what? Count on it. Count it. But also, like, look, quick derail. Fuck it. We're done. We're done. Not overhead. Here we go. We're done. We're done. The game, cool game. I like my game. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. Great fucking game. Go buy it when it's out. Anyway, let's just wrap up for the day, folks. It's Friday. It's Friday, and it's been a fucking week. And let's just wrap up, folks. Like, look, this morning, let me tell you all a little story. Those of you who are on my socials may have seen me post about this already. And if you're not, there we go. Excuse to press the button. Those are my socials. Follow me on my socials. They are the best socials. Everybody says they're the best socials. Look, folks, as some of you know, today I'm sitting because these game creation streams, I sit because I have to type, and typing is easier when you're sitting. But normally I do these streams standing up. My whole setup is on a little standing desk that goes up and down. And I usually like to do them standing up because when I'm looking at books and stuff and I get into my thoughts and I'm ranting, I like to be able to kind of walk around a little and stuff like that. But you know that I did a couple of streams where I had to sit down because I had injured my heel. That's all good by now. I'm feeling 100% better by that, thankfully. Which you might have noticed from the streams earlier this week where I was actually standing. No worries, Felix. Welcome back. We're wrapping up. I'm just kind of chatting with folks right now. We're wrapping up. But I think we got some good progress done on the game. I think we've got some good progress on the game. I think we've got some good ideas. Next time we work on it. In fact, I'm probably going to work on it a little bit on my own time over the weekend so that next week when we dive back in, the stuff that we created this week will be a little bit more cleaned up and a little better. Right now, it's just kind of like bullet points and putting ideas down. But I like what we've got. And I think it's got legs. Speaking of legs, so I had injured my heel, so I had a problem. I had issues standing up, and because of that, this just big old hunk of man meat here, I have been working out for a couple of years now, 3 times a week, strength training, pump and iron. I have, they're blurred in the background there, but I have a set of adjustable dumbbells that go from 5 pounds to 50 pounds each, and I've been adjusting them dumbbells. Let me tell you, the routine that I was originally doing when I started, I could barely do it with like 10-pound dumbbells. Now I'm doing like full sets of like 12 reps with 30 or 35-pound dumbbells on each of my sets. It is a full body dumbbell strength training workout, and I do 3 of those every week because I'm not getting any fucking younger. I don't have healthcare right now, so I gotta take care of myself. I work out, I walk, I get my 10,000 steps in. I've been getting all that stuff out. But when I injured my heel the other week, turns out you use your heel for a lot of stuff. It holds you up, right? It provides a lot of support, and it turns out that a bunch of my the exercises, my exercise routines require balance, require putting some weight on your heel. So I had to kind of take a break from working out, or at least working out seriously, until this morning. This morning I was like, I feel good enough. I'm going to work out because I'm not going to let another day pass without getting in some fucking gains, right? Join the Swoletariat. And folks, holy shit, worth every moment. I needed that. Turns out the pump and iron helps with processing feelings and getting through the feelings that I don't know, you might have after the events of this week here in the good old US of A, right? So with that in mind, I got in a good workout, and I'm feeling energized. I'm feeling good. From Danny to Darnold, man, like I said, join the Swoletariat. All right, you want to fight the man, you gotta be strong so you can get those punches in, man. And you feel good. It feels good to just be a little bit stronger, honestly. Like being able to, like, knowing that I started barely able to, like, just fucking do an overhead press with like 10-pound dumbbells, and now I can do like 12 sets of with 35 each, no problem. Like, yeah, it feels good, man. It feels good. And so I got to do that again today after like almost a week and a half of not doing it, and it feels great. I'm in a good mood. Highly recommend it. Join the Solitariat. I'm again. Look, that took time. That took time. Again, it's been a couple of years now that I've been slowly working up to that. But honestly, yeah, I'm probably in the best shape that I've ever been in my life, to be perfectly honest. This is just me kind of bragging at this point on nothing else. But my whole point is that I'm in a good mood. I got in my exercise. I'm feeling a lot better. Those of you who have been worried about me injuring my heel, hey, I'm 100% better now. And with all that in mind, it's time to start wrapping up today's stream. We're a little bit early today. That's fine. That's fine. It's Friday. I want to give you all your Friday back. Go get some rest. Ponte a correr. No, fuck that shit. That's the one thing I won't do. That's the one thing I won't do. I've run my races. Arbalist. I've done 5Ks. I've done a couple of 5Ks by now. Running is the worst. Why would you run? No, fuck that. I do cardio too. I get at least 10,000 steps in every day, and I also do some cardio. I do some cardio exercises here at home as well. Fuck running. No, I'll walk all day long, but I will not. No, running. Look, man, I like my knees. I like two things. Let me tell you two things that Daniel Alejandro Rodríguez Arregoiti Peña y Rizari Rivera Wiskovich. That's my full legal name and social security number. All right, here I am, whole ass out. I like two things. I like my knees continuing to work correctly, and I like not shitting myself. Those two things are kind of a given once you really get into running. I've noticed pretty much every runner I know is unhappy about the situation with their knees and has shit themselves during at least a half marathon. I'm good. That's the one sport I will pump iron. I will do calisthenics. I will do all sorts of cardio here in my little home gym. I will walk plenty, and as Arbalist mentioned, walking's good, fighting's better, sex is best. That's not a bad triple combo there, I'm gonna tell you. But I will not run. No, running is a death sentence. We are walkers. All right, we are persistence hunters. Again, one of the phrases that I have embraced deep in my heart the past couple of years is that don't run after your dreams. Don't chase after your dreams. Humans are endurance and persistence hunters. Walk after your dreams at a steady pace. Eventually, your dreams will get tired and lay down. And when they're weakened and exhausted, and you're still pretty fresh because you've just been strolling and walking, which is what humans do. We are built to walk, not run, walk. Take this. Me and my medical degree here, right, are telling you this. But hey, just walk after your dreams at a leisurely but steady and constant pace. And you're a lot more likely to reach them than you are if you're just sprinting after them at full blast. All right, we are not sprinters. We're not meant for that. We're meant for just walking. Chase your dreams. Exactly. Chase your dreams like Jason stalks his prey. Exactly. Fucking-cisely. You want your dreams to be looking over their shoulder every time. And every time they look over their shoulder, there you are. Maybe you're not close. Maybe you're pretty far away. But there you are, step after fucking step, non-stop. All right? Your dreams are going to be terrifying. Your dreams will not be able to sleep because you're coming. You might not be here today. You might not be here tomorrow. Might not be here next year. But you are not fucking stopping, all right? And that's how you need to go after your dreams. Felix, you think everyone likes not shitting themselves? You say that. And yet, I live in New York City, And we just had the New York City Marathon the other day. Hundreds of thousands. I don't know how many runners are, but it's like, if it's not hundreds of thousands, it's at least tens of thousands of people. A vast majority, I have to assume, all of which are just completely shit smeared by the end of that event. No, I'm gonna, look, if I was doing no exercise, or was doing nothing else for my health, or for being, being in shape or anything like that, then I'd be kind of like, you'd see like, oh no, that Dan doesn't want to run, look at him sit there, fatty fat, because that's what I said to myself, back before I started all this. But no, man, I take care of myself. I'm doing the healthy thing. I'm working out. I'm lifting weights. I'm walking. I'm moving. I don't need to run. Running, eso no es de Dios, okay? to my Puerto Rican friends, eso no es de Dios. That's not right. We were not meant to run. We were meant to walk, baby. We were meant to run. No, sorry, walk. These boots were made for walking. And that's just what they'll do. So, folks, as always, thanks so much for hanging out. This was just the last few moments of the stream, just vibing, chilling, talking the shit. This was a good time. Thank you as always for hanging out. My schedule is, here's the button for that, is as usual, Tuesdays to Fridays, 2 to 5 p.m. But this weekend, I don't think the schedule button did anything. I don't think it worked. Am I broken? Is it broken again? I'm going to try this one more time. There we go. Now it worked. Anyway, but now it's not working on, I don't know why it broke on YouTube. It was working before on YouTube. Anyway, nobody's watching on YouTube. Why would anybody watch on YouTube? It's Twitch. Anyway, this weekend you will see me again, though. Should you choose to accept this, I will be, again, follow my socials. I'm not going to press the button for the socials. You have my socials. But I will be on a charity stream for what is this charity? Give me a second. Let me look it up. Let me actually rep them a little bit. For Veterans Day. It's going to be the Veterans Day charity stream from Praxa, Thesmogoraphobia. Look, it's one of, if you're on Twitch, scroll down. It's one of the channels that I recommend. It starts with Prax. And I will be on that stream both Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, I believe, on playing a Baldur's Gate D&D game, and then 4:30 again on Monday. I don't usually stream on Mondays, but this Monday I will be a guest streamer again on Praxis stream for a separate D&D one-shot game at 4:30 p.m. That will be taking place in Waterdeep. I do not know which what I'm playing yet. The characters haven't made it. I'm gonna work on that tonight and tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, I really want to play my little Kenku, Katrick. If I can somehow trick them into letting me play my little what is he? He's a divine soul sorcerer Kenku. His great grandmother boinked to Phoenix, and now here we are. So I'm going to try and make that character for one of the games, but I don't know if I don't know, are Kenku available either in Baldur's Gate or in Waterdeep in the setting? I have to double check. 5 edition, by the way, Arbalest. They're not doing 2024. It's going to be 5e. I'm not a huge D&D guy, especially not with 5e. So I'm, keep it simple, I guess. I actually don't even know what the specific 2024 changes are, and I don't particularly care because I don't plan to focus on D&D. I'm really eagerly waiting for DC 20 version 0.9 to come out, because that one I want to spend some time on stream with that one. That's going to be fun. But in the meantime, I will be playing some D&D Sunday and Monday. So that's going to be a fun time. Watch my socials for links to all of that. I hope y'all are able to stop by. I'll be there with a bunch of other absolutely, frankly, much better role players than I am. So that should be a lot of fun. So I hope to see you all there. And if not, I will be back to my usual bullshit on Tuesday. Come Tuesday. We're back to this bullshit. We're gonna keep seeing. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. I think now that we've gotten past that the honey the honey trap or whatever her name is. Jesus Christ. Let me pull it up real quick. The honey artist. Yeah. Now that we've gotten past her, and I feel like I overreacted a little on some things. We'll discuss that on Tuesday. Look forward to that. You kept me an extra 2 minutes. Fine. I chose to stay an extra 2 minutes. Nobody's in charge of me. I'm a free man. And this free man is now going home, going away. So, folks, as always, thanks for hanging out. You know where I am. You know the hours. You know the things. You do your thing. Thank you so much for hanging out. I will see, hopefully, some of you on Sunday, as early as Sunday. And if not, definitely on Tuesday. Take care, folks. Take care.